Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast.
Coming to you out of SideQuest Studios, this is the Simpsons Index, episode 146. Hello out there, I'm your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill, and it is our Treehouse of Horror-thon! Woo! The seventh Treehouse of Horror-thon, in fact, and joining us for this spooky event is David Molloy.
Hello.
And here as always, except when he's not, because he's a ghost. I don't know.
Sure.
BT Calloway.
This is how I find out. I mean,
And thank you for joining us for the Simpsons Index. This is the podcast where we watch and review 3 episodes of The Simpsons at a time, but there's a twist. Each episode must come from a different decade. Now, because the Treehouse of Horror episodes work fundamentally different to a Simpsons episode, we like to have this biannual tradition of the Treehouse of Horror-thon. And thank you for joining us for the first time, David.
I'm so stoked. This was like exactly what I wanted to get in on from the first time that I heard about you guys doing this podcast. Like, all I wanted was those nasty Simpsons jokes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm ready.
Well, yeah, you're a man of a spooky. You're a spooky fan, man.
I am of the spooky persuasion, absolutely.
Yeah, because you had a podcast.
Yes, I had Nothing to Fear.
Nothing to Fear.
Yes, which sadly is retired now. I'm in the works on a new podcast at the moment with someone who is a little less keen on horror than I am, so that's an interesting
dynamic.
Yeah, it is. It's a great dynamic. She's fantastic, but adapting anyone to horror is always such a tricky, headspace to exist in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think actually this is kind of what The Simpsons did very well as well. They sort of shined a light on a lot of these horror movies and sort of gave you a fun, friendly path in, even though some of these Treehouse of Horror episodes can be, quite gruesome at times. And yeah. Do you have any favorite Treehouse of Horror segments from the classic era?
I was just thinking of the one where the kids were being minced up and turned into pies at school.
Oh.
I remember that one because that one scarred me when I was younger.
yeah.
Harrowing.
Yup.
I'm sure nothing will happen to the 2 Simpsons children. And yeah, all just a dream cop-out, and then a whole family gets turned inside out.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that was that episode. Yeah, that scarred the hell out of me when I was young, and now I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
I've had that song stuck in my head for 2 decades.
Yeah. All right. But, we'll talk about classic Treehouse of Horror later when we get to the classic episode. But in Simpsons Index tradition, we start with the HD era. And we just watched Season 26, Episode 4, Treehouse of Horror XXV 25. First released in October of 2014, it was directed by Matthew Vaughn.
Vaughn?
Yeah, but there's another N in there.
Oh, right. So that's not like the Matthew
Fornan.
Vaughn who did Kick-Ass, right?
No.
Okay, good.
And written by Stephanie Gillis. I usually go in this episode, but I'm not going to summarize 3 plots right now, but just overall opinions. What did we think?
It was okay, and then it was bad.
Yeah. Like the first 2 were, I don't know, like from the standard that the other HD episodes that I've seen on this show have set, they were doing okay.
Yeah.
And then, oh boy, that landing. That was an interesting one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Are we going in order or?
Yeah. So, breaking Simpsons Index tradition, we are going to be speaking about these segments in order, but we won't be talking about the actual segment events in order.
Well, they'll get it.
Also, tune into Thrones of Game, the only Game of Thrones which watches the series backwards. All right, so yeah, let's hook into these segments. The first one being, did we have anything to say about the intro thing with the late night show style intro?
Oh, look, I thought the premise of the gag was good. They're introducing the various different celebrities that are going to be voicing in this episode, and then it's just their corpses make up the words Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah.
Just leave it at that. Just do that. Don't give it the fucking Johnny Carson painting and the gag line at the end. It's just like the joke itself sits. Just let the joke sit.
Yeah. This is going to be something that I'm going to be bringing up a lot in this episode, is that there are just too many jokes across this thing where it's just a list of things.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't mind that joke either, but then because this episode relies on that list of things premise so much, it sort of stales for me.
Yeah, this is definitely an episode of whiteboard writing where they just wrote, okay, here's a general idea of what we're going with. What is everything you can think about this thing? We'll chuck it in the episode.
Yeah, and like whereas previous Treehouse of Horrors had that thing where it's like, they'd put up a list of all of the Stephen King movies and they'd throw a dart at the whiteboard and they'd pick one of them and they would stay with that and they would do a great parody of that. Like, if it's not broke.
That's the thing. I think every segment except for the last one, had an idea and kept up momentum, but it was mostly just things about this thing, and not really didn't really have a plot, but it was still okay-ish.
All right, let's hook into it. The first segment, School is Hell. Bart is an honor student in the School of Hell.
I have to say, first problem, why didn't they call it Life in Hell? As a reference to Matt Groening's original comic strip. So it's right there.
Ooh.
The idea is right there.
I think it'll be an uncontroversial opinion that this was easily the best segment.
Yeah, because even though it didn't have much plot-wise, it had a lot of interesting visuals, all the design of various demons and things like that. That was all interesting, and so you were engaged visually, even if the content was, hit and miss.
Yeah, well, just the plotting of it, made zero real sense. I guess, it was a nice reversal of, Bart's the idiot in school, so it's nice to give him the reversal in a school that's all about torture, but they only really milked a few little gags out of that. And also, just the title being School is Hell, it's like, what are you going for? Even as far as an obvious joke goes, it's just no good.
Yeah. Well, I think it was actually a good plot point that this is something that Bart could excel in, but why bring Lisa into it if you're not going to do the...
If you're not going to keep her there.
Yeah, or if not do the opposite, that this is a school that she won't excel in, that she's popular with people because it's the anti-world,
Yeah.
But yeah, just to do it for that fucking lazy... Oh, it is a cold day in hell.
Yeah. I think we all rolled at that one.
Well, the entire thing is just massive signposting. Look at the funny joke we did. Just let the snow fall.
Yeah.
Let the snow fall. Let her walk out. And then a couple of people in the audience will go, huh.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them will already have left because it's season fucking 25.
No, that's it. Give the segment of the people that didn't get it the chance to go, why would it be snowing? Why would it be cold day? And fuck, they did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
All the dads in the audience just going,
this is for you, dads. Yeah, so let's start on a positive note. What are some things we liked about this segment?
I did like the joke where it's, Skinner's chewing out Bart, and he's like, okay, you put cement into the sandbox, and then it just cuts to Ralph, who's just cemented in there. He's like, I don't get lost anymore. I'm like, okay, first joke out of the rank, and I got a laugh. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
What else you got, episode?
But just on Skinner as well, I found it weird in this episode how they chose to have some other characters be in hell as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, or representations of,
Yeah, wasn't the premise that Lisa and Bart got sucked into hell?
Yeah, so why is there a Skinner-Chalmers two-headed principal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Nelson one as well. Again, for a joke that was just so fucking labored, where the demon is writing on the chalkboard. It's like, I believe that Jesus didn't have a physical form. And
Well, it's that kind of thing where they're referencing the times when the writers were smarter and they had those reference points to go off and they wrote jokes about those reference points rather than just writing Wikipedia entries.
That's it, man. That's what it sort of feels like instead of, just doing a quick thing and, blink if you'll miss it, or you won't get it if you're not smart enough. They fucking explain it into the ground.
Yeah, exactly. And even and I know this is the Treehouse of Horror and these things are supposed to be in there, but even the violence in this just felt kind of weird,
Yeah.
Like at the very end when Homer's the one Bart has to torture for his final exam, you think, there's going to be some conflict. He won't want to do it, so he'll fail out of hell and then it'll reset us back. But instead, Homer's like, no, I want you to torture and ruin my body. It's like, what? Why?
The thing that kind of bugged me about that is the reason Bart was excelling, is because he had all these great ideas for ironic punishments,
Yeah, and then his final exam was just beating Homer with a mace.
Yeah. It wasn't even have all the donuts in the world.
Which was in the background. So,
I did notice that as well.
Oh, they had already done that too.
True.
Yeah. But no, it was, again, a nice little visual. If you blunk, you probably missed it, but it was there, and you go, hey, I remember.
I guess I blunked.
Time. Yeah. Oh, you missed it.
Is that how you say it? Blunked?
The past tense of blink, yeah.
Yeah, when you blunk, you blank.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, David, do you have any other bits from this episode that you like, a segment that you liked?
Yeah, I did. They were all I guess you can't really say more of this episode than some of the gags were good. Some of the jokes in it were good. Concrete Sandpit was a nice touch. Eye runes would have been better if they'd, again, not drawn massive attention to it.
Yeah.
Not tried to, signpost an app as if oh my God, this cutting edge joke, an app. It's dude, it's 2014.
Yeah.
And I did also like the teacher saying when they were suggesting new forms of torture and one of the people in the classroom suggested whipping. The
Yeah.
teacher was like, "That's good, I guess. No one likes whipping."
Yeah.
I quite like that. The delivery of it was good.
Very supportive teacher in hell.
Yeah, but then they turned her into like, "Oh, I know what evil is. I'm the head of the teachers union." It's like,
Wop,
and
wop.
there's the Fox Riders in the room.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, and the other moments that, oh my God, I've got a crush on my teacher. Down here, we can make that happen.
It's like, that's just uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's hell, and yeah, probably, but also no.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, I thought that was one of the less problematic jokes in this episode. But
Yeah.
we'll get to that in the second part.
Before I hook into something that I didn't like, oh shit, may have already gone all over it.
I got one more if you want to put another positive.
I reckon we're
Yeah.
the same one.
Yeah, you want to take it?
No, you hit it.
Okay. It's Mr. Burns welcoming
Mr.
people
Burns'
to hell.
Hellport. Yeah, I did it anyway.
Yep, well done.
Go for
Yep. We know you have your choice
Yeah.
of portal, and thank you.
The casual nature's like, hello, welcome to Earth. The current time is 4 p.m. We know you have your choice of hell port. He's just working on his desk. This happens all the time.
Yeah.
And it was one and done.
Yeah.
Just his line and then they're out.
Yeah.
Because it has no more relevance to the plot.
He didn't look up and stop and go, wait, you're not my usual 4 o'clock.
The Simpsons children.
What? Yeah, none of that. It was just, done.
Yep, blase. I'm part of the Hell Union and all that. All right, let's hook into shit that we didn't like, which, yeah, I'm fucking locked and loaded on that.
All right,
This one.
fire away, boy.
Again, just the list of things, jokes, going through what Bart's excelling in, fair enough, it's part of a montage, but then within that, there was the literature studies, which was just a list of books. Haha, there's a Bill O'Reilly in
Yeah.
there. And,
Fahrenheit 4051.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because in this montage, there were jokes I liked, actually. There was the long division where he stretched out Hans Moleman and then divided him.
Drawn and quartered, yep.
Yeah.
Man, that montage made me sad. You know what? I think you absolutely hit the nail on the head with the writer's room scenario for this, where they write up all the things on the whiteboard of the possible things that they could skewer. And then as they're holding up the dart to throw it at the dartboard and pick one thing to parody, the Fox executives run in, grab the whiteboard and run out. And then they just take that to the voice recording room.
Now, it's something a term we used before of whiteboard writing. It's usually for Simpsons go to Italy. Like, what are all the things we can think of that?
Yeah.
This was just, okay, guys, Bart's in
Racism.
hell. What do we do?
Again, it was just like a passable simulacra of a Simpsons episode, basically. Like, it was fine. There was nothing egregious. It was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I could not have watched this and my life would have remained on a steady path. Like, nothing would have changed for the better or worse.
Any specific moments for you, BT?
It was just, it didn't have a plot. It was just Bart's in hell, and in the end, he's in hell. And he's really happy about it. So good for him. He found his bliss.
Yeah, the ending didn't feel like an ending either. Like, it felt like the graduation ceremony was leading to something, and it just kind of just ended.
Yeah.
It's so weird to think that, like, old Treehouse of Horror episodes were better paced than this. They were the same pace. There were 3 stories rammed into one. How are they better paced?
Yeah, that's it. And when you've only got 7 minutes to do a story, you got to get that 3-act structure fucking just tight as hell.
Yeah. And each of those acts have to be, like, fucking amazing. Like, they have to really just sing. And each of them has to be a funny joke. And here they were like, Bart's an honor list student in hell.
Yeah.
And I'm going to lunch.
And then what happens? And then he graduates. What? I'm
Well,
on lunch.
that's what happens in life. You graduate from hell.
I
Gosh.
told you I don't talk shop in the canteen.
I'm trying to eat lunch here. Any other bits from this segment that we want to point out before we move on?
I did really hate grinding to a halt so he can reach into super hell and pull out another cartoon character. It's like, I'm in
Woofa
hell because my
doofa.
cartoons are bad. It's like,
Look, I melted
it's like, I didn't know who that was. I feel like most people wouldn't.
I thought he was a cartoon mascot for, like, those cinnamon candies.
Like Red Hot Candy. This is what I thought too. And then it's like, no, he's a comic book character. So
And the
like,
old thing would have been to pull Matt Groening out of Super Hell and then put him back without saying anything. Like,
Ugh. Pull him out by the feet. Sorry, weird reference. Anyway, any...
oh no, do clarify.
was he born backwards?
He was named in the Jeffrey Epstein documents. He got a foot massage on his plane.
Are you serious?
Yeah. From all accounts, it doesn't seem like he got into, the...
Anything else.
Yeah.
But
It
did
was-
get a foot rub and may have been so confused he didn't know what was going on, he let it happen.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's like the best light we can put it on.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. He didn't visit the mansion or anything like that. Yeah, he just took a plane ride and, yeah,
Fuck.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew the Treehouse of Horror episode would get dark.
I feel dirty now.
Yep. The last thing I wanted to mention as well, and coming into the list of things problem, is when Bart and Lisa do come back and Bart's like excited and telling Marge and Homer about it. Homer gets into bitching about private schools. This feels exactly like something that a very well-to-do Simpsons writer would fucking write. It's like, and then you have to give them lots of money and go to their bake sales and reply the emails.
And don't you just hate it when your butler loses your chauffeur's keys? Come on.
And you lose the remote that controls the sunroof in your bedroom, and it's raining on that bed that's shaped like your head. Yeah. Sorry.
30
Rock.
everyday problems.
Fuck, I love 30 Rock. What a great show.
I need to watch that show.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I'm way behind the 8 ball on that one.
It's not your fault. It's not on any of the streaming services. It should be.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Oh.
Sorry, do you want to say that again? Because I jumped over you.
Okay. It's on Amazon Prime. That's right, Amazon Prime. Get it, I guess?
This episode brought to you, sort of, by Amazon Prime.
Brought to you by Uncertainty?
I did want to ask what... I wanted to know more about quantum satanics, which was one of Bart's subjects that they didn't have a joke for.
They skipped over that
because
one.
I guess they weren't clever enough to think of one.
Yeah, someone's just like, hey, mechanics sounds like satanics. Hey.
No, it's like, like quantum mechanics, like Schrodinger's cat is and is dead.
He's both dead and coming back for you.
But no, they just skipped over it. It was like, what? No, quantum satanics. That's a joke. I'm trying to eat lunch. How many times a day do you fucking have lunch?
4.
Also, that I'm trying to eat lunch voice you did, like, isn't that probably the darkest joke that was ever in the old Simpsons? Like, holy shit.
Thanks to you, Billy is dead. Cut him from ear to ear.
Slit his throat from ear to ear. Like, I had that line stuck in my head for like years. Mum was watching at the time in the background. She was just like, my word.
Like, Mom, he's eating lunch.
All right, the second segment, a clockwork, wait for it, yellow lunch. Anyway, guys, what do we think?
Again, then instead of Bart's in hell, it was just Kubrick, and then as many things as I could think of.
Yeah, and Kubrick's in hell, being having all of his works recycled in front of him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Including Barry Lyndon, which they didn't even, like, I don't know what Kubrick film this is. Like, I do, you fuckers.
I knew you would.
You know what the thing that really rankled about this one was? It's just that, like, Fox, if you're listening, Fox...
Oh, they are.
You need to stop trying to take the piss out of yourself because you're incapable of doing it.
Yeah.
It's like you've seen someone do a roast of themselves before and you think, oh, I get it. I know what to do. It's like, I underpay my employees. It's like, that's not a joke.
Yeah.
That is a statement.
Sure it is. I'm laughing. It must be a joke. Yeah. Ugh.
And that's, very much like this and the next episode had a lot of that, a lot of these jokes at the apparent expense of Fox. Huge inverted commas there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned it last podcast, Beach. It doesn't come across like John Oliver, you know?
Yeah. It's not, I got you, business daddy.
Exactly. Did you ever see Robot Chicken? One of their interstitial jokes that they had, like, switching between channels, was a guy in a sports car just going, I'm wealthy and successful. Fantastic. And that's what all of those jokes feel like.
Yeah. Totally. Because, what was it in this one? Yeah, that was the eye clamps, wasn't it?
Yeah.
See, this is what I didn't like at all about this, is that there was no plot holding together all these references to Clockwork Orange. And there's a film to be made fun of there, and Mo in the lead role.
Yeah.
Mocha McDowell. Like, it writes itself. And
Mocha Modal.
yeah, and it was just references.
Yeah.
Like, the fucking William Tell bit was just a big gag about Homer binge eating, and it did nothing.
It's the magic of a show trying to show how self-aware it is, and the writers of the show trying to show how self-aware they are, while all of us are sitting back going, this is season 25 of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Like, there is
Justify
not
your own
self-awareness.
existence.
Yeah. No, you still have to work for our love.
But you can be so unaware that in 2014, when, and I will Google this between episodes, I'm sure there were some fucking brilliant horror movies coming out there that you could have ripped on. You picked Kubrick.
Yeah.
And not even his horror film. I guess they'd already done that. But still.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you think back to that one where they took elements of The Shining and made it totally their own, whereas this one, they just reference.
Yep.
Like, although I didn't exactly hate the experience of watching it, like right now I'm struggling to see the jokes that I liked in my...
There was only one that I liked, and that was when asking about how these young thugs don't wear loincloths anymore. Sorry, not loincloths. Codpieces, thank you. They don't wear codpieces anymore. He was saying, well, then how do they draw the eye to their chunky wonks? And I was like, okay, that's some decent Burgess. I can deal with that.
Yeah.
The whole, Cockney, Britishy kind of slang terms was a mix of, that's kind of funny, and what is anyone going on about?
Yeah. Well, the accent work was also inconsistent and awful. Like, I feel for the voice actors. It's like, okay, you know this character
I don't. They're getting paid to not feel. They don't feel. They're fucking robots. They're sociopaths. They have to be at this point in time. They cannot have human emotions and get paid this much per episode. Children are starving.
On the other hand, to say, okay, Mo, that like deeply like East American accent that you do, British it. Like,
yeah, it's going to be a weird swing to make.
But still recognizably Mo, if you can.
And Homer as well, like, just ends up sounding so tedious and annoying.
Maybe that's why he's not the main one in this, but who knows?
Yeah.
What, they heard him do his Clockwork Orange
like,
reference and they just rewrote all of the parts.
How about, I don't know, Mo?
But yeah, I thought Mo was also perfect casting because, you know, he is a bit of a psychopath in the context of The Simpsons. I think like the whole reconditioning thing could have totally played into his character somehow, but they just totally skirted it.
And again, they've already done it with Santa's Little Helper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, also, everyone's already done it because it was like 30 years ago. Longer.
Yeah, and that it just devolves into them going to Eyes Wide Shut and then just... Here's a list of Kubrick references.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if it was Eyes Wide Shut or if I'd just forgotten the end of Clockwork Orange, but thank you for like jogging my memory there. One thing that I did remember about Clockwork Orange that stuck out with this episode, talking about, you know, them going out for a bit of the bash and dash and all that sort of stuff. A little bit of the old ultra-violence and wailing on their Charles Bronson lookalike dudes. You know, they always pull out for that one accent joke that he has.
Oh, the Raphael.
The Raphael, yeah, exactly. Me.
Yeah.
That guy. But then talking about and finishing the night up with a little of the old in-out. And they come across a woman at the front of the 7-Eleven and then they're jumping in front of the door going in, out, in, out. Yeah. And I was like, the 6 words that I thought I would never hear myself thinking watching a Simpsons episode. That's cute for a rape joke.
It was a question of, okay, I know they're going to do the thing, but where are they going to go instead? I was like, okay.
Well, I mean, they 100% couldn't. Again, they've had Bart wearing his Clockwork Orange makeup as a Halloween costume, and that in and of itself is like simultaneously gross that it's on a 10-year-old, and like that's the point. That's the joke. That's the comment. You're like, there's something to it.
Wish we was going trick-or-treating. That's right. Yeah, so any other bits we want to mention from this segment before we move on?
I did like they have Duff milk.
Oh, yeah. That didn't because,
Yeah, I missed that one.
That's just a sign gag, and it's, again, it's one of those ones we were talking about before. It's there if you see it, and if not, that's fine.
Yeah.
We was moving all slow motion, like.
Yeah, okay, I like that.
I was like, it's the obvious joke, but hey.
It's just been done too many times already.
Yep. One joke that I really cringed at, which was, I've got a job as a beefeater. I hope that is what I think it is.
Yeah.
Bin.
10s on a high note, I'm going to say, the joke I also liked was the sex view blockers who all just run in with like trays and pieces of fruit just to hold in front of people.
Yeah, see, I wish the fight scene was...
Yeah, I wish they'd held on that because that's a funny bit.
Yeah, like a fight scene that was taking place with sex blockers rather than just, here's a list of Kubrick films.
Yeah. We moved to the other room and like my first thought was, you know, like I just know the moment I move the little guy's going to do something cool.
And he'll be naked when he does it too.
But blocked by a banana.
But it's literally just, I've seen Kubrick films. Bip, 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 bip. Like, okay, cool.
Oh, Homer's being an ape, and it's the thing in 2001, but that was an iPhone.
Yeah. So we now know that, like, the way that they replaced all of the Simpsons writers when the previous generation got fired is that they just got, like, first year out of film school graduates.
I was about to say, I felt very much, see, my film school degree was worth it, Dad.
What's the throwing the pen in the sky reference to?
That's 2001.
2001. And I thought that was okay. Like, that little gag was not bad because it just landed on his head and he said, ow, but it stayed in his face for too long.
Yeah.
It's like,
Then he's just staring like...
What's your point? That Kubrick was bad? Like...
Yeah.
Cool.
That
What
even-
a brave stance in 2014.
That even Kubrick couldn't defy gravity.
Oh, my last note was that, yeah, they had a little bit of a Sherry Bobbins reference in there as well for just no reason.
Because we's in Britain, we is.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, time for the final segment.
Do we have to?
We have to.
Oh, it's been building
I
to
really
this.
wish we didn't.
The Others. Who wants
Yeah.
to start? I don't.
Well, let me reference a contemporary movie. I think the remake of The Ring came out something like 2007, something like that. And one of the images that always stuck with me from it was the image of the little boy just drawing huge black circles on pieces of paper. And during this segment of the episode, I ended up doing my own Simpsons parody version of that scene where I just sat there scrawling this huge black circle on my paper, except in the middle it just has the word bad.
Yeah.
But what does it mean?
I just tried to make a facial expression into the microphone.
No, I can't wait because, you know, you're using the shared guest notebook for someone to be, casually flipping through. Oh my God, what did I miss?
It's no giant penis.
That's true.
Hello, David James Young.
Yeah. Shout out to H.
Oh man, I have to flick through this book.
I don't know. I might be in the other one. I'm not sure.
He left me an Easter egg.
Needs to something, all right.
This one just looks like someone showering.
Everybody's hugging.
Yeah, look, I think this was a really good concept that they absolutely fucked up from
Yeah.
moment zero.
Yeah.
The
and
idea that the Simpsons are meeting their former selves,
being haunted by their former selves. Yeah.
I think that's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
How was this the next step from it, that ghost old Marge is haunting on new Homer?
Yeah.
Was that one of her
Yeah.
character traits, like from the old Tracy Ullman sketches? Like, I missed that episode.
She's just horny AF.
Like,
It's really strange for one segment of a Treehouse of Horror to fail the Bechdel test so astonishingly.
Yeah, powerfully so. The whole, it feels like, okay, how about they get haunted by their former selves? Great idea. What do we do with that? Old Marge is horny for new Homer? Brilliant, Jenkins.
Cool.
Go to lunch again.
Jenkins, you're an EP now.
But yeah, that also new Marge tolerates this, and then
No. New Marge kills herself immediately.
yeah,
Oh yeah, Jesus.
Like, I thought that was going to be a joke. She, like, lowers the oven and puts her head in and goes, I may as well clean this. I'm like, okay, while I'm killing myself. Wait, what?
Yeah, it's like I may as well clean this was funny.
Yeah.
Just leave it at that. Like, don't turn it into the middle of Groundhog Day. Give us a fucking break.
Yeah. And then one by one, they all die.
oh, and the ghost logic in this episode.
Yeah.
They establish it early on that ghosts pass through each other and humans, and then they're able to pick up objects, manipulate people. Like, they
I was going to be more, how are they being haunted by the ghosts of their past selves if they grew into themselves from the past selves?
I'm so enchanted that I'm not the only massive fucking geek in the room who thought
no.
those exact same things as like me throwing pens at the screen going, what are the rules in this world, man?
I've done that a lot.
No, I mean, that's the thing. Good horror can be funny, it can be schlocky, it can be whatever, but rules.
In fact, like as a perfect reference to all three of the things that you just said, Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
It's schlocky, it's funny, it's scary, and its rules fucking work.
It didn't need to be ghosts either. Like,
No.
Or it could have been ghosts, but they're like...
It's just haunted by the past, time folding on itself. Even if it's ghosts, then don't say they evolved from these characters, because it doesn't make sense then.
Yeah, just, it's Rick and Morty style, like, dimension crossing. Like, this is, it's such an easy hoop to shoot.
Yep. And they just put the ball down and went to
riffed
lunch.
it. They yelled, Kobe, and they threw the basketball at the wall, and it bounced into their own fate.
Wow.
They weren't even in America.
Weren't even holding a basketball. Just...
Especially when you're talking about dimensions folding in on themselves. Like, if they're going to do that gag at the end as well with all the fucking different animation styles walking in, then, yeah, wasn't that going to follow that logic? Oh, fuck, my brain hurts trying to dissect how you wrote this and put your name to it. This is just so... I'm upset.
Weirdly enough, like, I was such a massive fan of Attack on Titan around that time.
Yeah.
And I saw that they'd, put in a reference to Attack on Titan and a reference to Studio Ghibli. And then I actually saw the clip in context and I was like, was it worth it? Like, okay, again, reference points in pop culture exist. That alone is not enough.
Yep.
That's like, when your teacher dabs now in 2019. It's like, great, you saw that happened.
Oh, dude, we watched the season 31 premiere a couple of weeks ago, and no shit, Bart and Homer floss in it.
Fuck me.
You had to remind me of that memory, didn't you? I'd locked it away, and it came back.
I saw two great tweets that are related to that. Lady Gaga tweeting about how she was up at 4 a.m. and furious because she was trying to beat this boss in Bayonetta, this witch boss that she just couldn't get past. And I'm just trying to wail on this bitch with my own hair, and like talking about how hard it was. And she's like, "Gamers respect, I'll get through this." And then like a couple of weeks later, she tweeted the words, "What's Fortnite?" But spelled GHT as well. I was like, yes.
Wonderful. I love that. Yeah, her autocorrect. She's so unaware of Fortnite that it doesn't default to the ITE. It's a shame because out of context, I think the designs on all of the characters looked really cool.
Yeah.
The anime Simpsons and even the CGI one. Like, I think that was a good joke, but then the Santa's little helper thing, ugh.
Yeah.
It was real Poochie energy.
I think by the time we got there, we were having, this would not redeem the episode. We're like, just get it over with, you fuckwads.
Yeah.
Or just start with that. Like, there's so many, actually, best reference point I can think of is Into the Spider-Verse. That,
Oh my
that
God.
is Into the Spider-Verse in microcosm, except Into the Spider-Verse is good.
Yeah. Because they did something with the concept. It wasn't just, and then they all come around.
Yeah, and it wasn't just pop cultural reference points like, one of them's anime. It's like, and the anime character has this relationship, that is specific to anime.
Yeah. Spider Ham and the Noir and just
Peter and Porker.
you ever smelled a pie so good it makes you float through the air?
It's the best movie of that year. It was perfect. And this episode of The Simpsons had the potential to bask in those waters and to enjoy that joke.
And to do it 3 years earlier?
Yeah.
Well, that's what makes me upset. It's like I really wish they sat on this concept for all this time and then seen Spider-Verse and yes, that's how we're going to do this.
I've got it. You know what it was? They didn't get a geek to write it. They got a geek to animate it.
Yeah.
Yes. That's exactly it, I think.
Again, because the Adventure Time, the South Park, the
Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, that's right.
Except for the Minions.
Fuck the Minions. Never reference the Minions. Sorry.
I was going to say, okay, new concept for the entire thing. Your first two segments are different universe Simpsons, then your third one has this haunting bit, and then the other two universe Simpsons come into the final segment, and it's a better episode, and they pay me money.
Oh, jeez, Dad, I think you should eat my shorts. Shut up, Bart. I'll do what I want.
Bingo.
Any other bits from this segment we want to mention before we move on?
One line I will say I did like was when they're like, "Oh, I think someone's in the bed with us," and it's Grandpa. He's like, "I was sleeping in your dryer and I got tangled in your sheets." Like, it's so absurd. I really enjoyed it.
I think we all laughed at that.
Yeah,
It was one good gag.
No, I think it was the biggest laugh we got since the torture reprisal.
Yeah.
But just to make sure we couldn't enjoy this episode too much, not long after, Homer's looking at Marge, he's like, "Ooh, nice melons." Like, Homer, those are melons in the kitchen.
It's like,
no
Jesus.
shit, I can see it.
Mel Brooks called. He's dead and he's embarrassed that you stole his fucking joke.
Yeah. Anything else you want to mention from this segment, Dave?
Absolutely nothing.
I have the note, "Well, fuck off."
Is it circled a million times?
No, was when I thought they were going to do the misdirect on the Marge suicide, but then they did the suicide. I was like, oh, well, fuck off.
When you misdirect the misdirect and it's somehow not clever.
No.
Yeah. I did actually kind of like the toaster misdirect.
Yeah, that was okay.
Old Homer comes in with the toaster, he's in the bath, so you think, but then he bashes him in the head, and then Homer, quoting Archer, I guess. Do I
That's
smell
how you
toast?
get ants.
Yeah.
Again, it's timing. That joke could have been better with just a little space.
Yeah.
Just a little space to appreciate it rather
Just
than
a breath.
ramming in 6 other film references.
Exactly. Speaking of references, they bring in Dr. Marvin Monroe to do nothing.
Yeah. Dr. Marvin Monroe, what's going on? I don't know.
Here's a voice you remember from the anniversary episode and literally nothing before it.
Am I alive? My dad, I got stuck in the wall.
See, I got stuck in the wall if I try to walk through. Let me show you. See, it happened.
Yeah, Yeah.
I do have two notes, actually. One is that, was it just called The Others?
Yeah.
Not
That's
even a
not
parody
even a
name.
joke.
I know. So I assumed I wrote it down wrong. I'm like, no, that's just the name of the movie.
And that's a great movie you could have parodied incredibly well.
Yeah.
And then also, the gag of, hey, by the way, like, Willie murdered a baby.
Yeah.
I actually had this in my notes. I think it's revenge from This Is Indeed a Disturbing Universe. All right, time for a mini spooky questionnaire. How did we like the parody elements?
Not at all.
That wasn't a parody. It was a setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the difference in year 9 English between a review and a recount.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Bart and the Others segments weren't really directly referencing anything, so that leaves us with the parody of...
They called it The Others, and that's a movie about people being haunted.
Can we come up with a better Treehouse of Horror episode parodying The Others in that moment? Because it would be centered around Marge, which is, like, in my book, especially if we're talking, like, older school Marge when, they wrote her a character, like, that would be fun.
Yeah, because she's home all day, so all these weird things would happen exclusively to her, and the other family would be like, no, you're going crazy. Oh, you're just cooped up in the house too much, and they're not there. Or, ooh, yeah, I like that.
And then Homer comes back from war, and she's like, oh, my God, Homer. And then you've got a beautiful moment for her to be like, oh, God, Homer's terrible. I forgot all of these terrible things about it.
Yeah.
And then you've got this perfect opportunity, like, spoilers for The Others, if you haven't seen it already, you're sleeping on a very good film. Like, the twist at the end is that, like, Marge would have killed her own kids. So make a joke out of that, make that into something funny, rather than just like, oh, by the way, Willie murdered a baby.
Like, they're totally comfortable with killing off the characters, so, yeah.
But it's like Poochie died on the way back to his home planet, is Willie murdered a baby. he stabbed it.
Just so you know, Willie murdered a baby.
Remember Willie, who you love? Child killer.
Yeah.
Except in that Treehouse of Horror segment when Willie
was
Child
Child
Killer
Killer.
was good. Because it was referencing and parodying Nightmare on Elm Street, and it was good.
I'm really butt at this.
How about the horror? Did we feel the spooky?
The shivers down my spine?
Yeah, I'm
No.
trying to think of the heart bumps equivalent of horror to...
Oh.
You know, like the
Still the bumps.
existential dread of realizing that I have only so many minutes on this planet, and there goes 8 of them.
Wow.
Yes or no, would you watch this one again? No.
Not if you paid me.
If you paid me, yes.
All right.
The same.
Is there anything else you'd like to change about this one?
Yeah, like, honestly, just, like, clarity for the writers. Like, I know that anyone who's doing this kind of parody work, with the exception of the Wayans brothers, is doing so because they like the initial work, right? Like, that's where Scream came from.
Yeah.
That's where, like, all of Mel Brooks' stuff came from.
Yeah.
It came with knowing the genre and then, like, lampooning it. And it's
lampooning from a place of actually loving it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's, I think, to a degree, that's also like what Saturday Night Live used to do. And now Saturday Night Live sort of has the same problem where they have a deficit of writers who are willing to sort of, make really groundbreaking, clever, edgy jokes. Instead, they're just sort of going, this is a thing in the news that the kids know. And then that's the joke. It's like, Joker movie. It's like, that's not a joke. That's
You'll never
that's
win
a
the
funny
kids
voice.
over by trying to impress them.
Yeah,
Let them come to
exactly.
you.
Exactly.
No, you just look like...
It's 420, my dudes.
That's so fleek. Yeet.
And then they all dabbed. How about you, Beej? What would you like to change?
All right, so I was thinking, okay, what's a horror movie they could have parodied? I know this timeline is wrong, but you mentioned Cabin in the Woods before, and that's something where there is a bunch of different, monsters all in like a warehouse situation. So that's where all your various times of Simpsons have come from, and you can reprise all your various Simpsons across all the Treehouse of Horrors, all locked away in this warehouse, and that's where people in this episode are like, oh, we're just a part of this weird story complex. And something with that. It's a bit of a mind bender. I've only just thought of it, so I haven't paced it out properly.
I
but
am
there's something
so
there.
fucking on board.
Yeah, it sounds like fun. Just everything gets to come back, and background gags galore.
Yeah, and then the end of it is like, all of those Simpsons Treehouse of Horror things, like, all of the doors open into the writer's room, and they just...
Yeah, because, the corporation running everything is Fox, and they're like, look what you've done to us over the years. Look at all the horrible fates we've befell.
Yeah.
And they just hit that full release button that's it's there for some reason.
Yeah, I think all you need for a Treehouse of Horror episode segment these days is to just, for 8 minutes, a blank screen that just has, like, in text the amount each of the writers and actors gets paid.
That is a good change. No! That's impossible! Yeah, look, what I'd change, it's simple. Each of these things needs a 3 beginning, middle, end. Like, it just sort of felt like things that happened. And yeah, whiteboard writing.
But on the fun way of, it's just a bunch of stuff that happened. It's just there.
Yeah, it's like even Bart's story, the one that I still kind of like and, isolated from the other two, I might watch it again. Just that segment. It didn't really feel like it had an arc there or something for Bart to come against or even involvement from Lisa. So that's what I'd change. All right, let's put this behind us. It is time to rank this thing. On the Simpsons Index, we rank using our 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. Maybe if the episode was just... you give it participant, but for the positive ratings, you got okay bronze, good silver, excellent gold, but for the best of the very best, you give cubic zirconia. I'm going to go first. Let me show you how it's done. It's pretty easy participant. Like, I usually ask this. I forgot this time. If we were ranking the individual segments, honestly would have gone bronze, participant. And yeah, participant wins for the match. David.
I think that's generous overall. I would say participant, borderline participant, dismal failure.
Oh, actually, no, good point. Yeah, the last one would have been a failure.
So overall, this gets a dull participant for me.
And BT, finish it off.
Yeah, much the same. I would have, maybe if I'm feeling generous, bronze the first segment, participant the second, dead set, fail the last.
I can't believe I forgot to fail the last. I'm really angry at myself.
I kind of felt like...
I'm angry at you too, if that helps.
So I'm just deciding if I think that evens out to a participant because I'm going to mostly forget this one. Even the parts I hate, I'm just going to be like,
No. Let me hit you with some real motherfucking horror from one of the writers in the biz, my dude.
Yeah.
This is the episode you remember on your deathbed.
Oh, shit.
Ouch.
It's so boring. I'll be like, remember all those good Simpsons? Why did they... and the
children will
the
be
neurons
like,
just trigger that one. I'll be like, God,
do you remember our mother? Do you remember the good times? And you're like, I remember...
I remember Marge killing herself in the oven.
I remember, whoops, forgot my iPhone.
Well, he died the way he lived, thinking about The Simpsons.
All right. Well, unanimous participant.
I wish to, I know it's a unanimous participant. I know that that's the rules of the Simpsons Index, but I still wish to register, a dispute with my own scoring.
It feels like that sometimes. Yeah.
All right, it'll be the third Treehouse of Horror to be dubbed a unanimous participant. It'll be joining the two of the Treehouse of Horrors we covered in our Mayoween Wasteland episode earlier in the year, Treehouse of Horror XIX, which contained the untitled robot parody. It's the Grand Pumpkin Millhouse and how to get ahead in advertising when Homer kills all the celebrities.
All sounds very bad.
You know what? Grand Pumpkin Millhouse looked beautiful, and I honestly wanted to bronze it because of that. But
the style parody was great, but there was no point to it.
So fucking weak. And then Treehouse of Horror XXI, which had the Jumanji parody.
Yeah, that was pointless.
Again, another list of things. Here's a bunch of board games. Master and Cadaver, where...
Such potential to be good, that one. That
good
still
gag.
bothers me for not being better.
Yeah.
It had the setup.
And Tweenlight.
Oh, yeah. That
which Lisa falls in love with a Robert Pattinson type.
Ooh.
Yeah. Talking about Simpsons getting on the trends.
Yeah, man. And it's still, Inside Out did the best possible Twilight reference that you could ever do, which was just the Teenage Dream Machine, creating the boys that she will fall in love with as a teen. I would die for you. That's all it needed.
And then she stacks them up. Oh, fuck, Inside Out is an excellent movie.
It's great.
All right, before we move on, is that reputation justified?
Is that reputation justified? Didn't know I was going to do that. But
Wait, okay, do we want Vincent Price? Is that reputation justified?
Nice. But what were you going for, that Beach? Was that like a
I
monster mash?
Yeah, a little bit.
Is it justified? It's justified. Dennis Perkins of the AV Club.
Dennis, what's something wild card but spooky? Dennis the Death Note Perkins. The best I got.
Gave it a B.
Of course he did. I'm telling you, he's not the wild card anymore.
No, he just gives it a B and moves on.
He's Dennis, give it a B, Perkins.
This is as close to horror as I can come. It's like Dennis the Nedry. Like, he did some bad things to Jurassic Park's security system.
And also he was pivotal to the plot, so yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and then he gets sprayed by the Inkosaurus, whichever one that was.
The Inkosaurus.
Yeah, so this is like high bronze, silver territory if we're translating it to our scale, praising the cinematic quality of the first two segments while concluding that the third was the poorest. He was impressed by how Kubrick references in the second segment used originality rather than being a perfunctory checklist.
Incorrect.
Yeah, no.
At least he didn't give it a Kubrick zirconia.
Oh, fuck
Hey,
you.
Garrett,
That was pretty
Where's my
good.
check, Fox?
All right, it's time we move on to the teens era, where I am actually so goddamn excited for this one, for one element, but we'll get into it. We're going to watch Treehouse of Horror 15. We'll be back. And we are back, and we just watched our teens era Treehouse of Horror. This was Season 16, Episode 1, Treehouse of Horror XV 15. First released in November of 2006. No one says it like that. 2006. It was directed by David Silverman, written by Bill Odenkirk. Hey, Al, what did we think?
Much, much better.
Oh, so much better. Oh, my goodness.
Had some good times here, yeah.
Because they threw the dart and they picked one.
And they stuck
and
to
they
it.
stuck with that one.
And they gave him story structure.
Oh my god, the story structure.
Yeah.
Beginnings, middles, ends.
Oh, wow. Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, this is one where I think there's some individual jokes and moments that don't land for me, but mostly it's forgivable and a serviceable
Because I'm
treehouse.
having a good time, yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a little through line to it, the whole keeping it Kodos thing, and that
Yep.
works.
And yes, what I was teasing at the end of the last one, I just relish any time to hear the Perfect Strangers theme. Like, genuinely, I think it's like an amazing composition. Like, every single moving part about it is amazing. Every line is a hook.
Yep.
The instrumentation is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as familiar with the song as you guys are, clearly.
Well, I'm not familiar with Perfect Strangers, to be quite honest.
That was a part of my TV diet when I was a kid. It must have been an American thing.
Right.
Yeah, I sort of remember watching it like as a kid in a block with like Full House and like Step by
Yeah.
Step and shit like that when, you know, come home from school and there's nothing else on and you're just killing precious time until The Simpsons comes on at 6.
And you weren't watching MASH?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of MASH.
MASH is a good show. Another great theme song, but very depressing.
Can I just jump in with a tiny dig at the previous episode, which we were saying was in 2014? Some of the horror movies that came out in 2013 that were well known were the remake of Carrie, the remake of Evil Dead, and The Conjuring.
Oh, holy
Like,
shit.
that's a gimme. That is a straight up
Why have we
gimme.
never seen Lisa being Carrie? Holy shit.
Oh my
That would
god!
be so good.
That's so simple.
Also, The Purge came out in 2013. Like, another one that Rick and Morty would do years later, like, pretty successfully.
Yeah, and how easily would the Purge slot into the Simpsons universe as is? It's already exceedingly violent.
But yeah, Lisa as Carrie. Come on.
I know.
Come on.
Oh, and the pig's blood and everything because she's vegetarian. God, it's
Ah, beautiful. It could be fucking Spider Pig's blood.
Oh, please make it so. But back to this one. All right, let's hook into the first bit. The initial segment, the Keeping It Coda, starring Kang. What do we think about this little opener, this little bit?
It was fine.
Yeah. You pointed it out when watching this, Beach. I forgot that, yeah, this is the first time we saw Homer eating himself in a Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah, wouldn't be the last.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it, David. There's
I feel like I have.
there is a Treehouse of Horror segment that's based around Homer slowly eating himself, and it is hard to watch.
Yeah, very uncomfortable, not funny.
Is it a later one, earlier one?
Very
Later.
later, yeah.
I think I have seen that, actually, for some strange reason.
Yeah, it's the last segment, and they have Lisa doing like the walk on in front of the stage like they used to in the old ones, just for this one segment. Because they, anticipated the much deserved gross reaction.
Is the
to it.
last great taboo auto-cannibalism? No, turns out.
They went there. But yeah, I thought this was a little cute thing to set up an alien sitcom, and they had the canned laughter and everything.
And you know what? Even if you don't like it, it's quick.
Yeah.
And the canned laughter made the jokes that didn't really work work.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Is anyone else in searing pain?
That's some good shortcutting. I like that.
Yeah. And it's the pilot episode for this, story about, like, it's one of these jokes where you're like, hey, maybe I do want to watch this, but I'm glad they left it. It's just a sketch.
Yeah. The dramatic difference between even the Keeping It Kodos bit and everything that followed and the last episode we watched, the violence in it was really bloodless.
Yeah.
And really quick. Like, those moments that sort of... It wasn't even that they turned me off or anything, because, like, I've got a pretty strong stomach for this stuff, lads. Well, it was more just like it felt weird in tone in that Treehouse 25. But here in Treehouse 15, it's sort of like someone gets, a chunk bitten out of their arm, and there's like a little bit of pink to show. It's like... That's all we need. Like, it's more violence than would be in The Simpsons regularly, but this is all we need from it. It's a reference to a horror movie, not actually trying to, emulate violence, because that is funny. I don't really understand what they were going for,
Yeah,
No,
I think it's all a stylistic choice of how disgusted do you want an audience to be. Do you want them to kind of laugh at how gross it is, or do you want them to just, not even focus on it? So,
Has anyone ever seen Dracula Dead and Loving It?
Oh, of course. Leslie Nielsen, man. Oh, holy shit.
I always think of the guy who plays Renly, like when he cuts his finger and it's just like spraying blood everywhere. It's like, I must have nipped a vessel. That's the tenor of the joke that you want, right?
1995. You knew how to make movies. All right, the first segment, the Ned Zone. What do we think?
Yes, I think this is probably the strongest one. And,
I agree.
Funny, and it's good to focus on Ned.
I might fight you on whether or not it's the strongest one.
Yeah. What you got there, Molloy?
I have a weird connection to this in the sense that, like, I watched The Dead Zone for the first time, the thing that this is parodying, this year.
Oh, wow.
Because I was on an episode of Mastermind, and my subject was the films of David Cronenberg, one of which is The Dead Zone.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of a banger of a film. It's really worth seeing, and it's really, really weird. Yeah.
How old is it?
It's when
Early
people
80s, I
took
think?
Christopher Walken seriously and he wasn't a meme.
Yeah. It's in like the mid-'80s or something, but it works perfectly because Christopher Walken is that kind of like, that sort of Christopher Walken weird where you can't really tell if he's on the same plane as everyone. And it works so well in the context of that movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of wish they'd lent into that a little bit with where Ned, like as a character, went, but the way that they just played with the idea of the Dead Zone, great.
Yeah.
Solid parody.
Yeah, because I haven't watched the movie, but I've read the books. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, all perspectives. Yeah.
Premise.
I've only seen The Simpsons thing.
Dude has like premonitions of the future and is then trying to like see if he can affect future events through these premonitions.
Yep.
Like it's very straightforward kind of, prospect, and they just played with that in The Colors of the Simpsons and it worked.
Also, there's a good SNL sketch where Walken is doing the same character, but he's having premonitions of like minor problems people are going to have. So he's like, touches someone, he goes, tomorrow, you're going to get an ice cream after work. You're going to eat it too fast. It's going to hurt real bad in the middle of your forehead. It's not too late. You can stop it.
Yeah, I thought this one played with that really well, especially with Homer, who's just tempting fate. He is slapping fate in the barrel of the fate's gun.
I did love that.
Quit whacking my barrel.
Yeah, hey, Chief, throw me a piece. Yeah, here you go, citizen.
Probably my single favorite line was, there's two, but like the first was what am I going to die of? Too much happiness?
Yeah.
Avalanche of naked ladies.
You die eating a submarine sandwich.
Yeah. And it's like, if you're going to shoot our father, remember the family motto, not in the face.
Not in the face. Oh, I want to see the Simpsons family crest with that motto on it.
Giving that line to Lisa is a just genius move.
Yeah, because then it sounds like it's actually their motto and not just a joke.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's also like she's a pragmatic person. It's like it's a pragmatic thing to say. I love it.
Yeah. I like the frisbee. 3 bites the apple and just enough. So initially trying to get it off the roof by throwing a bowling ball up that. That's how they knock Ned unconscious. The Hibbert dies. He's like, can you open the window and get my frisbee? Well, it's the last time. And just right at the end when he's in heaven, it's like, oh, Homer, here's your frisbee.
Yeah. Oh, don't forget when, Ned's just walking around the world trying to come to terms with himself. It's like, hey, Ned, have you seen my frisbee? It's like, fucking hell. Like, yeah, a really good running gag that's spaced out beautifully.
Yep.
Yeah, it's rather than thinking that they were contractually obliged to name check horror movies, they remembered that they were contractually obliged to write jokes.
Yeah, have a show.
Yeah, and that had a start, middle, and end. Like, I was actually trying to pay attention to the pacing of this one as well, because especially in comparison to the last one, where I was like, "Where is Act 1, 2, 3?" Like, and in this one, it's like they're already in Act 2 while they're still rolling out the credits. But you know, they did a really good job of establishing Ned's got powers now, and then here's the conflict that he's seen Homer's death and doesn't want to be a part of it, even though he knows he will be.
Do you think The Simpsons new episodes are trying to match the pace of, I don't know, like YouTube comedy or like another sort of American model of joke writing where it's just sort of like bam, 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 get in as many laughs a minute as you can?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why like some Simpsons episodes in the modern day feel like sketch shows more or less.
Yeah.
Like, because it used to be there's an event happening and the characters are reacting around that, whereas there's something happening and here we cut to a character for a typical them character joke. Like, here's Cletus, let's do a meth joke. Here's, I don't know, fucking...
Oh, this joke doesn't fit into this segment. Let's do that thing Family Guy did that was a way of like ripping us off.
Yeah. Or, you know, catchphrase humor as well. Like, something I forgot to mention in the last episode when Chalmers goes, "Skin him."
Didn't work. Whereas, like, Ned lying in a hospital bed saying, like, brain doodly, injury, bodily. Very good.
Yeah, event that happened that the character is reacting around.
Well, Mole Man's now catchphrase when he gets torn apart by alligators, like, "Oh, another setback."
Oh yeah, like him. That was a great gag as well. Some bullies threw my shoes tied together onto an electric line with me in. That's the kind of thing that you can see the writers like they're picturing what it looks like while they're writing it. And they think, "What's the funniest place we could take this to?"
And again, it's a great pullback and reveal, and they don't go, "Well, how did that happen?" There's no way you can pass through that.
I was like, "Well, what the?"
No, it leaves you for the audience to go, "Hang on, that's ridiculous."
Oh, Simpsons.
Honestly, the only joke that didn't land for me, and I think it may have been the point, was when he sees the Rosie O'Donnell the musical and then closes after 3 shows. Well, it didn't need any special mind powers to see that coming.
Perfect Ned imitation. Absolutely flawless.
I realized I started way too low and I had to work up to the deadlies, and I'm still
And then
not
you just
getting
got
it.
radio host.
Who'd have thunk it? Any other bits we want to mention from this segment?
Man, it's taken me a long time to push this button.
Yeah.
No, it's good. Watch the Dead Zone.
Yeah. If you were to rank this segment and this segment alone, what would you give it?
I might silver this. I had some good times. But maybe it's just the relief of not being another bad episode.
Yeah, I also wonder how much like extra sort of polish these ones get by comparison. You know what? Like, thinking of where I set things as participant, I'd say a silver as well.
Yeah, me too. Like, I mean, it's silly, but it works.
Yeah,
Like,
and it has its parody. I still got some laughs. It had a story. And I think that Rosie O'Donnell joke was the only one that didn't fall flat. I even kind of like the joke of, "You just blew up the town, so you didn't have to clean up the garage, didn't you? Well, joke's on you, garage made it to heaven too."
oh, that's so silly.
It is. But
Actually, the button I didn't like. "Oh, don't go near the 3-bean salad." Yeah.
no, you're not the boss, but yeah, true.
You know, like some of the jokes fell flat, but like unlike Will.i.am, I can see where the love is. Like,
I hope Will did find the love.
He felt that one.
Sorry, Mr. Am.
Mr. Am, please, Mr. Am is my father. Call me Will.i.
Will you what? Third base. All right. The second segment, 4 beheadings and a funeral. They're doing like a sort of a Tom the Ripper? Jack the Ripper.
Tom the Ripper was his father. And a bit of From Hell, I guess, a little bit.
Oh, the Johnny Depp
I also
movie?
thought From Hell,
just
that was
particularly for that opium scene. But also a little bit Sherlock Holmes, so...
And also the overall arc of the narrative.
Yeah, because that would have been around that time as well in 06, right?
Well, let's have a quick goggle.
Well, that does sound about right.
Sure, it does.
Like that movie. I have that movie on DVD.
I've not seen it since cinemas, but I do remember...
VHS of the late 2000s.
I remember liking it. I remember thinking that bloody... What's her name?
Oh, shit. From Hell was 2001.
Oh, wow.
There you go. That's an oldie, but an okay.
What's her fucking name?
I don't
Is
know.
her name Heather Graham?
That's it. I remember thinking Heather Graham's character was way too, like, everyone's messy and dirty, and she's just perfectly clean. It's like,
Is her name Ian Holm?
yes, Ian Holm.
Is her name... Oh, actually, holy shit. Like the head of the cops, Peter Godley. That was Robbie Coltrane. That was Hagrid right there.
Oh, wow.
Robbie Coltrane gets around. That's why he's neat.
You're a ripper, Jack.
Oh, there's a different movie.
Okay, I'm going to say what I thought. I think this was the weakest of the bunch.
Oh.
Yeah?
Okay, I am going to battle you. This is my strongest.
Round 2. Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought Net Zone was lots of fun, and I think probably a little more reverent to its source material. But like, what really sold this one was that they did what they did with the Australian episode, which was that they went, we're going to do a vaguely innocent just bag out of the Cockney accent, and we're just going to stick to it the whole damn way. And they had so much fun with it, and I loved it. So literally, my review of this is, I'm a proper Cockney flower, call blimey skip to me, Lou.
I did love Marge's whole back and forth there.
So good.
Yeah. She probably actually had the strongest British accent out of all of them. But no, I know what you mean, like, especially with the police station. Our motto. Hey, what's all this then?
And a motto playlist.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Is there an opium playlist?
Well, you know, that's funny because I actually remember at the time when this first aired that they actually put it on a bit later because, yeah, this one's rated M for drug use.
Yeah.
Yeah, because opium rules.
Yeah, so I think that was another disappointing scene for me as well, like Mouse instead of Moe's as well. Like,
I mean, it did have the sign of, I think it was Mary Poppies. Because opium is made
That's
from
good.
poppy.
I'll pay that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, within this segment, I think, yeah, the opium den was probably the weakest part as well.
I don't know. I mean, I did like it for again, Mr. Burns, the best character of The Simpsons. Fight me. His whole thing of, the Blades of Osiris. I used to have the whole set, but I sold them all for opium. Oh, I wish I had them back to sell them for more opium.
Yeah.
Is that Mr. Burns, the wealthy raconteur, what makes coal out of babies?
Them's the one.
Yeah, actually, I think casting-wise, this episode really worked. Like, Lisa as Sherlock Holmes. Wait, no. Just a Sherlock Holmes. A detective.
Yeah.
I forgot what the job was.
Liza someone was her name.
And Dr. Bartley.
Dr. Bartley.
I do love the easily amazed sidekick. What's this? A doorknob? Well, I'll be. I kind of wish they had a few more digs at that. That was a good setup. I really got a laugh out of.
Yeah, it would have been a pretty good recurring joke.
Mm-hmm.
A recurring joke that I liked that ended up being, the foil of the police officers was the eel pie as well.
Yeah, I like how that's in as a joke, so you don't think it's a plot point. You just think it's, boy, we British sure eat crap.
Yeah.
I enjoy whenever they bury the lead like that.
And then there's that whole extended thing of him trying to like ram the eel back down his throat.
Yeah, that was weird.
Police baton.
Actually, I saw the creepiest thing on, like, I followed this Twitter feed, like, nature is fucked or something.
I asked you not to talk about my tape.
No, nature is fucked, not David.
Oh.
It's showing, like, a generated x-ray of how an eel's mouth works because they've got a 2-jaw system. And seriously, it's like the fucking alien. Like, they've got the main jaw which latches down on their prey and then the little one that starts, like, coming out and biting them and shit.
Damn.
Yeah, eels are fucking fucked.
Yeah. God damn it, nature, you creepy bastard.
Anything else we want to mention from this section?
Great, like, payoff of gags where they're fitting the Halloween model of being a bit gross and a bit nasty, but not being, I don't know, just sort of like crass or gutter-y. Like the whole thing where, what are the names of the two cops?
Eddie and Lou.
Eddie and Lou, thank you. Yeah, and they were saying, like, Eddie never would have sold me out like this. It's like, that's because you cut out his tongue. He's right, Eve. That's great.
Yeah.
And my last notes on this is that when they go to, like, the shop of curiosities, just has a sign that says, we have stuff in jars.
I liked Comic Book Guy's end as well and how he, like, reaches for the life potion that lands on the stool.
He just kind of takes off, Disney style. Well, I'm going to be in pictures, I tells you.
Yeah. And actually, in the end of the very last segment, Mo is dancing with the little stool as well.
Aw.
Very cute.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Good wholesome stool
Good
stuff.
to see Mo happy.
Yeah.
And then we get a steampunk Kang and Kodos.
Yeah, I didn't like the ending at all, like I gotta say.
I thought it was fine. It was just a way of touching base with the sort of overarching thing they had and a way of just like ending that thread. You know, it's like we don't need the Jack the Ripper thing. We don't want to let him get away. So let's remember him for his police work and not the murders. Again, from hell. It's a good movie, I think. It's definitely not a very good movie, but it's an okay movie. Go and watch it.
No, I remember really liking it at the time.
It inspired me to write a short story in Year 12 that I won a small award for. So,
Nice.
Because I ripped off From Hell.
Oh, that's better than when I was in Year 10 Advanced English and I read a story that ripped off the butterfly effect.
My boy, you understand me.
And it got me a C.
Wow. Fun fact, every single English essay for me from year 10 onwards had a Pink Floyd reference.
No shit.
Nice.
Don't remember how, but I did it a lot.
Was your story just a baby strangling itself in the womb with no context? Was that it?
Wasn't that the alternative cut they pulled out of cinemas?
That's the one I saw. I didn't see the cinema one
Oh,
because the
no
cinema one
shit.
was just like, oh, everything sort of worked out fine. I saw the baby womb ending.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh,
Deep
wow.
cut spoilers for the butterfly effect.
Yeah, spoiler alert for the deleted scenes available on the DVD of the butterfly
that's
effect.
a deep cut right there.
Oh.
Such a deep cut, it's a cesarean.
Oh, I want to burn that
No,
joke.
I need a Kevorkian.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about the ending was just sort of the double cop out of the alien popping the balloon and then it was all a dream, but it also wasn't a dream.
Ralphie, are you just high on opium?
I just thought that was funny because, like, I like the way The Simpsons references the sort of hallucinogenic animation of, you know, like Yellow Submarine or whatever. So I kind of like it when they just indulge in that for a few seconds.
Yeah, sure.
And again, it was quick. If you didn't like it, it was done.
Yeah, same with OPOs. Quick and done. I felt like I had another line. Oh, I didn't really like the whole them finding Selma's body. Oh, she's all pale and bloated and...
It was only 5 minutes ago.
It was a stinker. Oh, she's ugly. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Oh, and the Peter Pan bit was a bit weird. If you were to rank this segment alone, what would you give it?
Because I did like this one story-wise, but I think jokes-wise is where I'm a little let down. Just as many didn't land as in the first one. I'm going to follow ye old guts and say bronze.
David?
I had fun with the accents. It's a silver.
Yeah, I'm giving it a bronze as well. Although I'm going to say this was my least favorite. It wasn't a participant bad, and I think it is still a bit of the effect of Treehouse of Horror 25.
Yeah.
It's still fresh in the mind.
It lingers.
It follows.
Oh, why haven't they done that one yet?
Oh my god!
Because it's about a monster that fucks people to death.
It's literally just Hans Moleman walking around behind people very gradually.
Gonna get you.
You have my wallet.
They shoot him in the leg. Oh, another minor setback.
Yeah.
And the final segment of this Treehouse of Horror, in the belly of the boss. They're doing like a journey to the center of the earth.
Fantastic Voyage.
That one. What was that one? Journey
Journey to the Center of the Earth is where they go to this middle of the Earth and it's actually hollow and it's full of dinosaurs and stuff.
Yeah. And rather than it being like a human body, then the analogy there is that when they say journey to the center of the earth, they mean the literal earth.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was halfway through saying it's like, nope, that's not right. Fantastic Voyage. Yeah, what do we think?
Yes, it was good.
Yes.
I had fewer notes on this one, but...
I did as well, but probably the key note was just when they established that Maggie has been shrunk down. She's in a pill that Mr. Burns has eaten, and so now they have to shrink the Simpsons family down, get them inside Mr. Burns' body to rescue Maggie. Great premise. But the way that they established this was having Mr. Burns on an operating table and drawing on his stomach lines all the way down with a little drawing of Maggie with X's for eyes.
Yeah.
And my note there was, now that's a dead baby joke.
Yeah.
That's how you play that.
with Mr. Burns going, that felt pen feels like a knife.
There was some very good Mr. Burns in this as well. Like, I think the line we all got a chuckle out of when after Homer just palms the dashboard and like the
To
explosions
make sure
go
we get
off.
there super fast, I'll just mash all the buttons with my palm.
Yeah. The explosion goes off in the stomach and that beautiful line delivery that I'm scared to touch. It was too beautiful.
Well, that hurt like hell.
Just so dry and so...
That man can take a lot of punishment.
He really can.
He's been like crushed everything but his head and survived. He's had this happen to him and survived.
Been shot by a baby.
Yep.
Had felt pen drawn on him.
He's a tough old man.
There's something to be said for the pacing where even the punchline of a joke can just be a cut to Lisa's blank face.
Yeah.
Just a deadpan expression can do the job.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, look, I think the thing that surprised me most about this one is that it seems like every show does a fantastic voyage,
Sooner or
shrink,
later, yeah.
shrink them
Yeah.
down, go into the system. Like, yeah, Rick and Morty, who we've mentioned a few times tonight,
Yep.
that was like their second episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, Archer.
Which I guess, which I guess makes more sense with something like Rick and Morty because it has the trappings of a sci-fi show, whereas
Yeah.
like with everyone else, it's just one of those like cultural touchstones. But even here, it feels a little bit like it's a bit of a boomer touchstone, though, isn't it?
It is.
It's
Yeah.
like if you were, like doing a Logan's Run reference now, I'm not sure that it would land with as much like veracity with as much relevance as you expect that it would.
Yeah.
Yeah, Simpsons did it, Logan's Run.
Yeah, exactly.
Very quickly. Kill the gator and run, where
Oh,
the woman
yeah.
has a jewel in her palm. It's like, no, I'm only 25.
Yeah. Gets replaced with
A
the new
younger model,
Yeah.
Which I'm sure Family Guy then did at some point as well.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly.
Oh, yeah, and just remembering Futurama also did a great Fantastic Voyage. One of my favorite episodes, Parasites Lost, where Fry gets the
Yes.
worms from the egg sandwich. The reason why I eat Surfo egg sandwiches.
In the hopes you become a perfect being.
But the irony of like doing Logan's Run references is that if you're old enough to know what it means, you'd be dead.
You make the Logan's Run reference and the jewel goes off. Oh, fuck!
Oh shit, I did it!
Outed myself. So it's not like they did anything new with the premise, I don't think, but I think it was, The Simpsons doing this trope, and it was fine.
Yeah, they ran into it pretty quick, because even then there's no justification as to why the Simpsons are going into the body instead of experts. But it's just like, shut up, we're doing this, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, even they rushed the whole, like, Maggie going in. Like, I kind of thought there would have been a moment of her being spotted before it got shrunk, but the reveal was that they heard her pacifier somehow.
Again, shut up, we're doing this, let's go.
Exactly.
I do like the lineup of Homer's like, Captain and Science Officer, Security, Marge!
Her best line.
Yeah.
A lot of good quality vintage Marge in this episode.
Yeah. What do we think about her slowly losing her clothing, though?
I really love the line of, these white blood cells are eating my clothes. Although I gotta admit, they know when to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's fine. I get the reference you're making. But again, like, we're talking about a McCarthy era movie. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Censorship's come a little bit of a way by then.
That's it. I mean, it was gazy, but that was kind of the point.
This was 10 years ago, so it was pre-Game of Thrones, but like HBO existed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had seen breasts on television.
But HBO and Game of Thrones would usher in the era of the dong.
Yeah.
Now you can only see butts on cable.
And the ending as well. Like, did this seem familiar to anybody?
What, everyone doing a big dance number and all the previous...
Before that.
Oh, the bit with they're doing a big musical number with Homer expands in Mr. Burns' body.
Yeah.
Again, that man can take some punishment.
Just that, Homer being in Mr. Burns' body, felt like a... Did it feel like a throwback to the old Treehouse of Horror?
Where they're sewn together two head style.
Yeah.
Or where they're turned inside out and they do a musical number at the end.
Yeah, they like doing a horrific musical number.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
works. Because when they started this I Got You Under My Skin bit, I didn't like it until it became like a bigger number.
Okay.
I'm like,
And
okay,
even
now
then,
I'm
I
kind
still
of it.
didn't like
I
it.
didn't like it, but I'm like, all right, now a little more into it now.
No, I thought it was just as much of a cop-out as the other ending, actually. I did like the version because I like Latin music, but also I Got You Under My Skin is annoying. My only other note from this is, again, it's like moving through the paces of the story to just sort of get through it and get to the jokes, but I really do like the fact that Maggie was the extra weight that they needed.
Yeah.
The exact amount of weight.
Damn you, 5-pound baby.
Any other notes from this section?
Nah, it's a little bit forgettable. Hey, like it made me giggle at the time, but other than that, you can certainly say this: it was The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I think it was more about the voyage than it was the comedy.
Yeah, I think Homer had one too many of those dumb making the ship go fast moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there should have only been one, and there was two. Yeah, the initial one where he goes into the heart and he's like, help me, science. That one I
Yeah.
didn't like, but I liked the mashing the palm one.
Well, that does make me wonder why he ate Mr. Burns' ribs, because that's just bone. There's no meat there. What is he doing?
Yeah, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of how ribs work.
Yeah, right?
Well, not after he ate them. All right, if you were ranked this segment alone, what would you give it?
Bronze.
Yeah, bronze.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, nice bronze. All right, time for a mini spooky questionnaire. Play count, how many times before tonight have you seen this episode?
A fantastic amount. Voyage.
Nice theremin. It's got a voice
you.
filter on it.
I was going for Mentok the Mind Taker, but okay.
Wow, deep cut.
Yeah, boy.
How was the parody of this episode?
Yeah, solid. And especially in comparison, this was a parody episode. The
Yeah.
other episode was a list of things.
Yeah, each one was a parody of another thing, not necessarily horror, but
Classics
Solid.
within horror ideas, though, the
Yeah.
idea of
The idea
shrinking
of
oneself
premonition
down and
how
Yeah.
do you stop that, or do you just become part of it? That's a classic.
going inside the body, Jack the Ripper. They're classics that we will probably still be going back to for
Yeah.
a long time. So in that way, besides one or two Rosie O'Donnell gags, it's still relevant, you know?
Yeah.
I don't have to have seen The Dead Zone to appreciate what's going on in Ned's episode.
no, and I haven't. And now I'm sort of a bit more keen to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's always good when you're like, oh, this is based on a thing. Oh, I might check that out.
Yeah.
That's always more fun.
Well, kind of like Fantastic Voyage, you sort of see a lot of shows doing the one premise, and you're like, oh, it's a thing? Okay, well, just for the relevancy. Same with, a premonition story, yeah.
Actually, I remember, so my mum, used to love horror movies when she was younger, but she saw too many, scary ones in the cinema, and she's kind of been put off them as a result of that.
Right.
But she always used to talk in quite reverent tones about a movie called The Fury. And she was just like, The Fury was one of the scariest things that I'd ever seen. And I knew nothing about it. I found it, I looked it up, I watched it. It's a good movie. I recommend it. But I also laughed through a lot of it. Not just because it's a little bit dated, but because it is exactly the movie that Garth Marenghi's Dark Place is pointing so much of its jokes at. There are so
wow.
many direct pulls that end up in Garth Marenghi's Dark Place that
nice.
it's insane. So please watch both of those if you haven't already.
Oh, it happens with The Simpsons as well. I can't fucking think of what episode that I'm thinking of. You know what I am thinking of right now? I showed a friend of mine who'd never seen The Godfather, and she couldn't take it seriously because she'd seen Jane Austen's Mafia 50 times. And she was like, oh my God, that's exactly how that, because they stole shots and did things exactly the same. It was a really true parody film. One of Jeff Bridges' last as well. So, not Jeff Bridges. What was his name?
I was about to say, what happened today that I missed?
Lloyd Bridges. That's the one.
All right.
Valet.
Horror. How was the horror?
I mean, everyone gets nuked.
That's true.
Jack the Ripper rips.
Yeah, he stabs a bunch of sex workers. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And
I
a
guess
comic book guy.
To quote Invader Zim, it was good. You did great. It was fine.
Quick diversion. Have either of you seen the Invader Zim
Flopus?
thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It's pretty good.
I dug it.
Yeah.
It just gave me everything that I wanted out of Zim. It
Yeah.
didn't just feel like it was, referencing what it used to be. It was just doing what it used to do and doing
Pretty
it well.
much.
So it wasn't like, oh my God, exceptional. It was just some good Zim.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, more Zim. It's been 20 years since that happened.
Exactly. And give me more of Richard Horvitz doing that voice
Oh,
any
yeah.
day.
Forever.
There you go, fans. That was the follow-up to BT because one of our previous guests, Danny, absolutely trashed it on the podcast. And
What?
But we had
Yeah.
another one who really liked it. So
yeah.
Danny, I'm so sorry. I mean, it's a lot of build-up to be disappointed by. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
To his credit, he did say he wasn't sure if it was actually bad or just he didn't have that sense of humor in him anymore.
That's possible. That's
you
very
know.
possible. It's extremely immature, and I am still that guy.
It's that still wacky, weird, very random humor.
Yeah,
But I
it's
like
just
how-
it's just slightly dark and very screamy, and
Yeah.
that's very me.
Yeah. But they do a good bit of explaining where they've been all this time by saying Zim was just hiding in a toilet.
Yeah, perfect.
Like Rocco's Modern Life, how they've just been floating in space all these years and the remote to get back home was stuck in Heifer's butt.
I haven't watched that yet. I'm
It's-
terrified.
No, it's very good. It's very, very good.
Because my God, Rocco, I think is responsible for a lot of my psychological neuroses. That show is fucked.
Yeah. Oh, it's great, right? Yeah, I couldn't speak more highly of that. That was, joy to watch.
Cool.
But speaking of watching, yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
Yeah,
Yes.
I probably would.
Yeah, I'd watch this one again easily. BT, we must ask you, is there anything you'd like to change?
I mean, a couple of those jokes fall flat. A few more jokes in the final segment, because even though I enjoyed the ride, there wasn't a whole lot of laughs to be had. But yeah, mostly it's pretty solid. Again, these are structured with actual through lines and stories and things. And for a mystery, it's actually got some misdirection in it. And that's pretty good for a 7-minute mystery.
Yeah.
So, not too much. Just little tweaks, but nothing massive.
All right. David, what would you like to change?
I'm now realizing as well that it's hard to sit outside. It's really easy to sit outside of the writer's joke room and, sort of go, oh, this didn't work, that worked, that was great. And to, individually critique each joke. But honestly, I don't think I'd change anything about this episode just because they've fit the brief.
Yeah.
So well, and it's just an enjoyable episode of our lives, and I'm glad I watched it, and I probably would again.
Yeah, other than the story things that I've already mentioned, like, I wish there was more solid ending for the, 4 beheadings and a funeral. That's really the title of it? Interesting.
Yeah, surely
no one was even beheaded, were they?
No.
No,
oh wait,
they
hang
were stabbed.
on. There's the Flanderses were beheaded. There was 3 of them.
That was unrelated.
It was unrelated, true.
That was weird.
Why was it just called like From Heck or something?
Okay, fuck it. This episode's a failure.
It's time to rank this thing, and it's BT's turn to go first.
Because I did go silver, bronze. That should make it an easy bronze. And yeah, I'm going to have to go with the bronze. I wanted to give it a little higher because I feel like I had a pretty good time on this, but just in retrospect and pulling it apart and analyzing, I guess that's as high as I can go, which I wish I had more in me. I really do.
Yeah, well, I will. Because I kind of do grade Treehouse of Horrors on a curve because they are a bit sillier and a bit wackier, and they are designed to be parodies of either just general pop culture or horror.
And curves are spookier.
Yeah, so, this feels more silver to me, even though, I went the same. I went silver, bronze. Yeah, I felt like silver sort of more matches my overall feelings.
You know what? He's right. Curves are spooky. Have you ever seen a square ghost? No.
No, you have
You've
not.
got it. Yeah.
Make you think.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm just going to bump anything up an extra metal grade because they included the Perfect Strangers theme. Especially Perfect Strangers. Probably a participant show. Going to get a bronze for the theme. David.
It's a proper Cockney flower, core blimey, skip to me, Lou. This is a comfortable silver for me, I think.
I'm trying to decide if I want to bump this up now because I did really love that line. Is that enough, though? Let me try saying it out loud. I give this a silver.
Go on, give it a whack
this a
up the
brawl.
apples and pears.
I'm going to go with a silver.
You are?
That feels
Hey,
okay.
there we
Just
go.
the more I think about it, I had a good enough time. Surely that's enough.
See, I changed the course of future. I was in
Oh,
a
no.
dead zone. I am the Cronenberg mastermind.
I do reserve the right to blurt something out later.
All right, well, that'll equal a unanimous silver.
Nice.
And
Maybe.
this will be the third Treehouse of Horror to get a unanimous silver. It'll be joining Treehouse of Horror XII 12 from season 13, which actually wasn't unanimous. That got gold, silver, bronze. So that was silver by split decision. So
Wait, which one's in that?
the Pierce Brosnan house.
Ah, yeah.
And
Oh, yeah. Wow, that was
And
earlier than this.
Yeah, and the Wizards parody, the
Harry Potter
the vomiting
parody.
frog prince.
Oh, every moment I live is agony.
That's the one.
Flag.
I actually thought that the School as Hell was borderline a better Harry Potter.
And it'll also be joining a controversial pick for a unanimous silver, I might add. A lot
Really?
of people have been angry at us for this. Treehouse of Horror 7.
Ah, that's right. I remember this one.
This is the one with Hugo, Bart's brother in the attic.
I like that one.
Also, the Genesis tub with Lisa in the little town around
Yep.
the buzz collar in the tooth. And Citizen Kang, Bob Dole and Bill Clinton one
Yeah.
with Kang and Kodos.
I like that one. Do people not like that one?
No, they think we were too harsh on it. But I think the justification was it was like a gold, silver, overall silver kind of thing.
Well, I remember my justification at the time was Hugo and Genesis Tub were actually a lot worse than I remembered, but they were still bronze. They were still okay. But then Citizen Kang is just like one of the best individual segments. But as an overall package, silver sort of felt like an apt rating. But
Yeah.
people have like...
Because Genesis Hub, not really that much happens.
No, and it's really jokeless.
And there's just nothing in this world that is more, important and relevant to get angry about right now than the opinion of 3 white dudes on a 20-year-old episode of The Simpsons.
That's right.
That's
Who
right.
do they think they are?
Do we think we
And if you
are?
want to express that anger, hit us up at Twitter or Facebook and now Instagram. All right. Well, that does it for the Teens Era. It's time that you earned the classic Treehouse of Horror. And we're going almost near to the start. We're watching the second Treehouse of Horror. Which one's this one? We'll find out.
I can't remember.
I actually feel like this could be bad. I don't know yet.
Could this be a trap?
Well, Well, I mean, that would be a pretty spooky thing to do.
It would indeed be a disturbing universe.
Yeah, and you are made out of curved lines.
And we are back, and we just watched our classic and final Treehouse of Horror this evening. This was Season 3. I'm just going with it. They know what time of night it is. It's evening. It's the spooky hour. This was Season 3, Episode 7, Treehouse of Horror II. I. First released in October of 1991. It was directed by Jim Reardon. Fucking hell, the directors tonight. Fucking Matthew Vaughn and Jim Reardon. And this was written by Al Jean, Mike Reese, Jeff Martin, George Meyer, Sam Simon, and John Swartzwelder. Yeah, this is a classic Treehouse of Horror where they eat too much candy and they each have 3 nightmares. I know, 3 nightmares. How unlikely. I'd like to see that. We did. How was it?
Fantastic.
It was good.
Yeah, I had a real fun nostalgia trip with this one. Like,
Definitely.
Very, very classic Treehouse of Horror.
I really love, and what I missed about the other horrors, the other Treehouse of Horrors, is Marge's trigger warning.
Yeah.
Which came 28 years before that was in vogue.
Yeah.
Just Marge coming out and going, oh, this is all a bit much.
The second we open on a red curtain, I'm like, yeah.
So good.
Well, yeah, because they only did it for the first 3 or 4, maybe.
Well, she's got a good bit on this one. It's like, well, last year we told you not to watch if you had small children, but you did it anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe don't do it. Just send them to bed and... Well, if you didn't listen last time, I guess you're not going to listen this time.
Exactly. It fits Marge to a T. And I guess they couldn't have done that for 30 Treehouse of Horrors running because the joke would have run dry. But haven't they all?
Yeah. Well, this is another interest, because they did set up a lot of traditions in this one as well, which... Because the Treehouse of Horror thing was originally to include Kang of Kodos in each one, and that became more and more difficult to do over time to the point in Season 16 where it's just a little sitcom sting at the start of it. And the other tradition that was started in this one was the credits having alternate names for everybody. Yeah, a tradition which they say they begrudgingly keep up to this day.
Slowly things went from, that's such a funny idea, to, I guess.
Oh, one of the most recent ones...
that fucking Homer robot in the background does move. No, that is not okay. You never told me that happens. That fucking thing moved.
But no one even touched it.
No.
Really?
Yes. It just did a whole little thing. It did a... No, this is not okay. I'm calling the cops.
Oh,
But you know what'll happen? The cops will come around and go, Mr. Molloy, this is just a figure. It's a robot. It can't hurt you. And then later that night, it's in your room. Come on, you know how this happened.
I think I did a Treehouse of Horror that was very similar to it. The doll's trying to kill me and the toaster's laughing at me again.
Damn toaster.
All right. And this is one of the rare Treehouse of Horrors, especially early ones, tended to do this, which was actually have the segments wrapped around and have a story in them. Like Treehouse of Horror is named for the first one where they told spooky stories in the treehouse.
Yep, and it's just a framing device.
Yeah, and this one being told with the nightmares and the candy. And I thought that was really, nice.
Yep, succinct. You get right into it and boom.
Made me immediately want to rewatch Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah? Just the first one?
Yeah.
Not the dream catchers
Look,
and the dream warriors?
I've got to go deep into that saga yet, but I know people who have, who are very glad that they did, and so I feel like I should.
I would not say I'm glad. Every even-numbered one is shit.
Interesting.
I have interviewed Robert Englund.
Oh,
I
wow,
have
nice.
spoken on the phone with the guy.
Nice.
What?
He is not PC.
I am not surprised.
I saw him on an episode. Have you guys seen the show Come Dine With Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
My ex's dad was on it.
No shit. Oh, you knew someone that was on Come Dine With Me?
I have the weirdest 6 degrees, my dude.
But yeah, so there's not much to say about the wraparounds, but if you got anything to say.
Say it now.
If you don't like it, go to Russia.
It's a little bit with the kids passing outside of the front of the Simpsons house, and they're dressed up like the ghosts from Peanuts.
Oh, yeah.
Quick little reference there.
Man, good eye for the details here.
I've developed it over all these years.
That reminds me as well, the other tradition that was started in this one is the gravestone jokes, which I think, went up to like Treehouse 8 or 9 or something.
I thought Bambi's mum was a nice hardcore intro
There's like
to
Cajun
it.
cooking. It's like, oh, don't tell me that's
Aw.
good. That's delicious.
It's alive and well.
It's because of Cajun Vietnamese hybrid cooking.
Uh-huh.
Like, there's a real good episode of Ugly Delicious on that shit.
Oh, I didn't finish the Come Dine With Me story. So they did like a celebrity Come Dine With Me, and Robert England was on it. And for his entree, he made tuna melts, and like with way too much tuna, and like they just look disgusting. And he like used like basic packet tasty cheese as well. And he's, I thought I'd make something for people that I like.
I mean, fair, I guess. I'm just curious, if he's on television, did he use Freddie's catchphrase, "You're on prime time now, bitch"?
Oh, I bet he did. I don't remember. The one thing I stuck out in my memory was that, all these other people would like make really exquisite entrees, with carpaccio and venison and, 3-syllable things, not a 3-syllable thing like a tuna melt.
You had to make a pizza full of screaming faces? A la number 4, I want to say. Maybe it's 5.
Shit, you come to play, bitch.
Yeah.
I didn't watch this series for fun. It was research.
The main thing I remember from the interview was I asked him what his favorite kill from the entire Nightmare on Elm Street saga
All
was.
right.
And he said, I liked it in, I can't remember which one. It was probably like 5 or something like that. When he killed the deaf kid, because I liked that he was going for a special needs kid because he's an equal opportunities killer.
Holy shit.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thanks,
fair.
Robert Englund, for showing your age. Just a little.
Oh, fuck. All right, first segment, Lisa's Nightmare, the monkey paw. I wish for you guys to tell me your thoughts.
That's kind of a waste of a wish. But, all right.
My thoughts. I think Elliot's a dick. Oh no, the twist.
The ironic twist.
I never wanted to know the truth. No, thoroughly great. It took Trust Lisa to go for some vintage horror, because I know this is a Twilight Zone episode, but I'm pretty sure it was like a story before that.
I mean, the whole thing was a Twilight episode.
Oh, yeah.
Twilight
For
Zone
real,
episode, right?
right?
Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll get there. This is, like I said, this is one of my favorite part bits. But man, just even before we get to the monkey's paw, there's some great jokes of the guys doing the yoga poses, and Bart's like, I can do that, I just don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Serious Simpsons broke my brain hours.
Good old vintage Bart.
Yeah, and one of my genuine favorites of Homer, where'd you get that monkey's paw? I got it from that shop over there. Oh wait, it's over there.
You'll be sorry.
And yeah, there's a massive animation error in there where the little shopkeeper mouth, it doesn't move. And
There's a couple of those
Yeah.
across the episode, actually, which I think makes it even better. Like,
Yeah.
I love that they left it there.
Nah, good old dodgy old Simpsons animation.
Like, it might have even just been, look, it's a bit weird. He looks over the shop and nothing happens. Like, why don't we chuck a voice in? All right, sure. What's that say? You'll be sorry.
Yeah, I like to think it was almost like they recorded the voiceover already and they animated for, like the director or whatever said, they animated it for without that extra little bit and then afterwards just went, nah, screw it, put it in. It's good.
Yeah. No, that's the thing as well. Why did he have it on the table if he, just stressed that he doesn't buy it?
Maybe it's one of those things where you stash it away, but it just keeps coming back.
Oh, the stupid ironic twists.
Yep.
They get you every time.
The last thing I would want is to pass this monkey paw into, oh!
Damn you, monkey paw.
Oh, he wished the monkey paw to have an item that people would constantly want to buy.
Yep.
So he's cursed with an eternity of monkey paws.
Again, weird literary thing of like, I was once president of Algeria.
Yeah.
It's like, you could read into that or not.
And yeah, Homer, of course, confusing Morocco with Monaco.
But there was a lot of like Homer's mild racism that kind of bled into the construction of the episode of all of the like Moroccan characters just sort of going blah, 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 in a sort of like South Park-esque kind of fashion.
Yeah, one of the notes that I did read in researching for this episode was Hank Azaria was asked to do Arabic gibberish for this.
Shit.
Well, of course, it's not like they had money back then.
Yeah.
It's so funny as well that Hank Azaria is like the one from the cast who's come out and said, hey, look, I think I probably was in the wrong. When back in the day, he was just sort of like, I'll do any race you want.
Well, no.
It was a different world, let's be fair.
Well, also we reviewed YOLO, which is only a few years old, and he was doing the most generic Latinx character with the most generic Latinx voice.
I mean, I saw that you guys reviewed an episode called YOLO, and it's like, I can skip that.
It was not good. I really like in this how I gotta assume they're being self-referential about their own
Their
success.
own fame, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Especially like all the shirts and the albums and stuff. Because
Fucking Simpsons Calypso just wanders into my brain every now and then going, man, smart. A woman is smart. I'm like, this is awful. Get out.
the joke is that it's awful.
I
and it
know.
won't get out.
I get it as a joke. It's just every now and then, out of nowhere, wanders in.
How close to Do the Bartman was this episode?
A year or two after.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that came out with The Simpsons Sing the Blues, which is a bad cash-in album, which has, The Simpsons singing along with either famous songs or bad original ones.
What do you mean cash in? We're talking about people who played the Hollywood Bowl.
But yeah, and they had that song by DJ Jazzy Jeff, Deep Deep Trouble, which is so... Simpsons Sing the Blues, it just reeks of douche chill and...
It sounds like a lesser Chef Aid.
Oh, well, it was, because like Chef Aid at least sort of had a mix of original songs, new up-and-coming bands, mixed with some established artists, and also like them doing versions of songs that had appeared in the show.
Yeah, and it tied to an episode as well. It wasn't just, here's some stuff, bye, bye, bye.
And also some legitimate fucking bangers, and I Will Die on This Hill.
Yeah. One place where you can get System of a Down playing a song with Mace, Puffy, and Little Kim.
And Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, that's right. Surrounded by the colors, I see
You thought
crystal
of the
black and
exact
blue.
same song that I did, and I'm so happy.
I actually had a note about South Park in this section. What was it? Oh, the whole twist with the aliens, the peace on Earth thing, and now they've disarmed themselves. Yeah, South Park went to rip this off, but then they had a classic one of their moments where a writer piped up, just like how Simpsons did it. Motherfuckers.
God damn it.
Years later, they were speaking to some of the writers of The Simpsons and they mentioned this event. Oh, we were going to do the whole Earth disarms and then aliens take them over thing. And like, we found out you did it, so we didn't. And they're like, oh, we actually did that again a few years later in another Treehouse of Horror.
Yep.
With the zombies. They get rid of guns and then the zombies come up and...
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they take them over with guns. So Simpsons ripped off themselves, but also Family Guy did this storyline as well in Da-Boom.
Yeah.
I'm giving the quizzical face to... I don't remember this episode
It was
off
a
the top of my head.
weird, non-canonical, but didn't announce itself as such, where Stewie mutates into octopus people and they burn all their guns before they show up.
Oh, yeah, no, this is way past my time. So, I owned, I think, the first 7 seasons of Family Guy on DVD, and I'm so hurt just saying that into the microphone.
Pretty sure the episode was in the first run before it got cancelled. So
Really?
Well, no, because the storyline hinged on Y2K.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, the apocalypse due to Y2K. But no, I owned Family Guy up until season 10, and then it took a long time, but I think it was the Muslim episode that eventually was like, nope, this show's fucked.
Jesus. Even just those 3 words is enough.
Yeah. Back to this one. Any other notes about the monkey's paw?
Yeah, I like the ball with the nail speech.
Yeah.
Oh,
Beautiful stuff.
yeah, total like, the hubris of man.
Yeah.
They'll have a bigger board
Well,
with bigger nails.
They really leaned heavily into, to quote some webcomic that I can't recall, the me and play God trope of sci-fi.
Yeah. Me and play God.
Yeah. This was a webcomic that did caveman science fiction,
Yeah.
and all of it was like, fire burn, fire won't burn me, and then him being on fire going, me and play God.
Oh, well, we'll have a me and play God later on in the episode as well. Another thing I liked here is it's a very early Simpsons cliche of Bart and Lisa arguing with each other.
Yep.
Peace on Earth, X-ray specs, peace on Earth. It reminds me of Cool Mo D, Ariel, Cool Mo D, Ariel. Yeah.
Nice. I like when they get rich and all this money's flowing around and a $1 bill floats by the camera for the transition. It's like they're rich, but they're not rich.
Yeah.
I love Marge's line of, maybe fame and fortune aren't as bad as people say.
Yeah. But yeah, I love it as well, though, having their first experience as them going out into the world and they're already having people go, oh, I used to be...
Amused by their antics.
Yeah.
Now I wish they were dead.
used to be cute and funny. Now I find them annoying.
And now let's finally end it with, I just want a turkey sandwich, and I don't want any zombie turkeys. I don't want to turn into a turkey myself, and I don't want any other weird surprises. The turkey's a little dry!
Definitely that sort of tradition of Homer doing these incredibly like tragic speeches about innocuous
The
things.
only times when he's verbose is when he has these.
Is in tragedy.
Damn you!
Barks. But yeah, foul cursed demon from the depths of hell.
Yep.
Fucking amazing.
Well, remember, this is technically in Lisa's imagination. So,
Which also will come up later in this episode with probably one of the best Mr. Burns lines that I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah. I'm actually pulling up the Frinkiac now because I want to make sure that's well quoted.
Oh, I've got it.
locked, loaded, and ready to go.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, I'm done with notes. How about you guys?
Your superior intellect is no match for our puny weapons.
I love actually Quimby's line delivery. Now, I'm sure we can sort this out peaceful and reasonably. Ow.
Quimby all the time. He's so good.
All right. Yes. If you were to rank this segment and this segment alone, what would you give it?
Not a goldish, but at the same time, I appreciate that maybe things that seem a little old to this simply from the fact that I've seen it and this isn't a surprise anymore. Whereas I think on initial viewing, this would have been so out there and so different.
Yeah.
I'm going to settle around a gold, I think, despite all my notes about it, which feels weird, which is why I'm pitching my voice at the end there.
David.
Yeah, I'm also trying to like separate myself from the nostalgia goggles a little bit.
It's tough, yeah.
It's tricky. They do a lot, I guess.
Yeah, well, there's the two sides of it. There's nostalgia goggles, and there's also the simple fatigue of having seen it so many times and knowing exactly what happens.
That's true. I couldn't actually give you, a realistic count of how many times I've seen this episode, but it's more than thrice. I think I would probably be sitting in the high silver, I guess, because it's not like, greatest of the greats, but it's super fun.
Yeah, I'm just defaulting to gold right now because I really like the story of this one, and it's so damn iconic.
Mm-hmm.
This is just going to sit in my, middle of the road at 4 stars.
Lowest score ever, 7 thumbs up. Second segment, Bart's Nightmare, where we really get deep in the Twilight Zone
One
references.
of the hardest Super Nintendo games you will ever play.
It's a goddamn bastard.
So first cab off the rank, that Rod Serling intro.
Oh, my God. I just adore Did I mention the monster is a 10-year-old boy? Quite a twist, huh? Bet you didn't see that coming.
Perfect delivery. Harry Shearer as well stepped up to the plate for that one.
Oh,
Killed
no
it.
shit.
Just, wonderful. And so is this Twilight Zone fans? Is this based on a specific one?
I forget which episode it's called, but yeah, it's pretty much bang on. It's a kid in a small town who has powers to just change things at will, and everyone kind of tiptoeing around that. And he turns his dad into a jack in the box.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, but the dad dies. So
Oh, no shit.
he's just because they didn't have the effects back then. But you cut to like in this episode. When he changes him, it just cuts to the shadow silhouette and someone screams, and then you just get a picture of his like still face rocking back and forth. It's that was the most they could do at the time, obviously, but
Well,
everything else is implication. But he does a similar kind of is it a cat? Where he changes some animal. He's like, this is boring. I'm gonna merge it with like a possum, and he does, and it's like everyone's like, oh, that's good.
Look, I made a pigeon rat.
Something like that. I can't remember. But they also remade it for the 1990... So I can't remember if it's 80s or 90s movie where they had a bit more of an effects budget and pushed some of that shit harder to the wall.
Well, actually, the Twilight Zone movie, it just so happens that was one Nancy Cartwright's first film role, and she was in this segment as well, playing someone called Ethel.
That was not a good movie to be debuting on.
No.
There's a couple of other stars who didn't go too far after that.
Yeah.
It's work.
It's a living except when it's not.
Well, I mean, Yardley Smith is in Maximum Overdrive.
That's right.
More to the point was the people who didn't survive the set of Twilight the movie. That was more the gag.
Yeah.
Lest we forget. But Bart's Nightmare was fun.
Hard game.
yeah.
Hard game.
I'll give you a candy necklace. Climb aboard.
That was awesome because it was like a genuine interaction between Lisa and Bart.
Yeah.
It wasn't just ticking the boxes of, these two are siblings who fight with each other. It's like, they're actually brother and sister and there's love there.
And this is the dimension as well. It's like, I had a bad dream. Can I sleep with you? No.
Yeah, that was the Lisa, it's your birthday of this episode.
Yeah.
Like, it was nice, you know?
Yeah, genuine sibling moment, which, yeah, where as much as we love the show, sometimes it forgets that they're 8 and 10,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
don't have 8 and 10-year-old problems sometimes.
And I feel like I've had that exact interaction with my younger sister at probably around the same age
Aw.
as well. It feels real, you know? It's
Yeah.
lovely as well as being just a good joke in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I really love this segment. Fuck, I don't even know where to start. Yeah, the snowball cat. That is an amazing art design.
Oh, good. The curtains are on fire.
So good you do such awful things.
Yeah, I think the line that got me in this one was just that it's good that Bart did that.
Yeah.
Anytime we see anything weird, we just think it's good that Bart did that.
Very good.
Yep.
The one that kills me, and I didn't notice it until I grew up and I knew what a boner was. But the way they changed the test answers, and now America is called Bonerland. But not only that, the quick joke of Dr. Marvin Monroe's office, where it says in the proud country of Bonerland. On
I missed that. Oh my gosh.
The
Yeah.
little callbacks.
No, it's amazing.
Okay, I gotta say a line that always sticks out to me is when Bart gets on the bus. He's like, "Hey, Otto, I'm driving." He's like, no, can't do. Oh, wait, you're the kid with the gnarly powers. And then when he's speeding along and Bart's like, "Come on, give it some gas." He's like, "This is fun, isn't it? We're gonna die, aren't we?" Just the horror of that, like, resigned almost acceptance of the terror of their situation
Yeah.
always sticks with me. It always creeps me out just that little bit.
This is you saying in the last episode we were talking about that Mr. Burns is your favorite character.
Yeah.
And I feel like mine is kind of still a tie between Dr. Nick and Otto because they're just like, there's some depth to their characters, but they're mostly just in to go like, do the stupid voice.
Yeah.
But every now and
Opium
then,
rules.
every now and then you get a sponge. This is like something a sponge could do.
Again, another Harry Shearer.
Oh, shit.
The man does voice as well.
Dr. Nick, I'm guessing, is more of a
That's
Hank
Hank.
Azaria. Yeah.
Yep. And of course, speaking of Hank Azaria, I'm a stupid moron with an ugly face and a big butt, and my butt smells, and I like to kiss my own butt.
When we talked about self-awareness before, this is doing it right.
Well, yeah, because at this point, the Simpsons Mo prank call is just such a trope, and then
Yeah.
to turn it on its head and make it so,
He just goes along with it because he has to.
yeah. I like to think that, he's either resigned to the routine or he's still being fooled into thinking, wait, is that part?
Yeah.
I just think it's more that, like, at this point, he knows that, like, he can't not go with the joke because
Yeah.
Bart will do something fucked to him.
Yeah, and apparently, Hank Azaria just absolutely detested this bit and fought the writers on it.
Oh,
and it's
really?
like, this is too stupid. And it's just like, yes, it is. And
It
it's
is.
wonderful.
That's why it's
perfect, yeah.
funny. Maybe that explains modern Simpsons because they're like, should I fight this bit? It seems stupid. No. The writers know what they're doing. I
let's
was
go-
wrong that one time in season 2.
Let's go back to that bit in Treehouse of Horror 25 when they're like, your religious views were, like, deposed by the blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's like, again, like, having reference points, having
Yep.
sort of, like, an intellectual framework to a joke doesn't make it work. It just works.
Any other notes about this segment?
Krusty is performing for 346 consecutive hours, which is 14.42 days.
Really?
Yeah. 2 weeks straight.
I could do that. I just don't feel like it.
Yeah. I know you can. That's okay.
Yeah, well, you think about a lot of film shoots these days, and it's like,
Yeah, I worked at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival for a month. We worked 16-hour days for a month straight. The weekends. Yeah, that was a mess.
Jesus.
I was taken advantage of.
Doing shows or...
Oh, no, Lord, no. I was working in the press office of one of the venues, but, like, even still,
That's
it was a lot
insane.
because you do your shift and then you drink and then see a show and then drink and see a show and drink and see a show and then sleep a little bit before you repeated the whole thing.
Oh, God.
It was a lot.
That month probably took years off your life.
Oh, undoubtedly. Years I never want back.
Any other notes about this?
Just how it ends with it all being a hug between Homer and Bart and, the sweetness, and that's when Bart does the standard scream, wake up.
Yeah, the true horror was having mutual love between him and his father.
Also, just remembering that being the cold cut to ads. That feels like a classic cut to the ads from The Simpsons, like...
In fact, that might be the origin of that standard scream that becomes the Bart wake up scream.
Don't forget the standard scream.
Yeah,
Ah!
this might be the first time that really happens.
Well, I mean, it's important with these Treehouse of Horrors. Like, I think we noticed in our reviews of the early ones is they'd have these wraparounds to make sure you knew you were still watching The Simpsons, even though these were weird episodes.
You got to take them out of the dream
No,
to
exactly.
show it's
Like,
a dream.
they fit within the structure of a season, even if they're not a traditional Simpsons episode. Exactly that. Like,
That's it. And yeah, my final notes are just Homer as the Jack in the Box. Homer, I see you agree with my theory. No, I'm not nodding. It's the air conditioning. Wonderful. And I think there was some great physicality to the Jack in the Box as well, going on the roller coaster and
Getting hit in the head with a baseball.
yay, yay, yay. Wonderful. If you were to rank this segment alone, what would you give it?
I think it's got to be Cubic for me because I love the episode it's based off of, and I love this. Everything about this one is just ridiculous and fun.
Me too. Cubic for me. How about you?
Where does it rank on the Molloy scale?
yeah, go on. Yeah, give it a little cheeky cubic.
All right. Triple Q. Give it the Q to the power of 3.
Cubic cubed.
Your line delivery then was like Auntie Donna's pud sketch. Oh, just a little bit of pud.
Got a little bit put.
You didn't say there'd be custard. All right, and the final segment. What's the title? Toilet Trained. Oh no,
It's
right.
the first joke.
No, that was
There's no title on these ones.
No, it's just Lisa's nightmare, Bart's nightmare, and Homer's nightmare. But yeah, are you get Toilet Trained?
Yes.
Yeah, Homer's nightmare. What did we think?
Oh my god, this one I couldn't keep up with note taking.
Absolute gold.
Yeah, just Mr. Burns fucking just on fire. Perfect horror character to center any
Totally.
segment around.
I'm always happy to wallow in his crapulence.
Or so you think. I just even love his exposition delivery. It's like, well, I wanted the perfect worker, but I found out they were made of flesh, which is weak. So I took the flesh, which is weak, and replaced it with steel, which is strong. So, as you'll remember, flesh is weak. Just, the delivery of that. It's like almost like a lecture or something. It's exposition that made me
He's
laugh.
Unbelievable. He's such an incredible voice actor.
Again, Harry Shearer.
Yeah. Slug of beds.
And gold brickers.
Yep. Eeny, meeny, miny, him.
Oh man, like I was saying about Fantastic Voyage is doing the Frankenstein thing. Yeah, it's a total trope at this point, but holy fuck, they made it their own thing.
Oh,
yeah. And bar one, I'm also realizing that every single line that I wrote down that cracked for me was Shearer. Every single one was Burns because they just write him so well.
Yeah.
It's like they know that they have to overwrite this character, and so they just nail it every time.
Just walking through the graveyard. Oh, I feel like a kid in a candy store.
Who is a model employee. Simpsons little further.
Yeah, or like you're a bad corpse.
Stop scaring Smithers.
What feels like the one that was the deciding factor in putting this episode up in the first place is, damn it, man, this isn't rocket science, it's brain surgery.
Now hand me that ice cream scoop.
Yeah, in that moment, there were like fucking 10 jokes in the space of 5 seconds because then he's humming If I Only Had a Brain from Wizard of Oz.
And then yelling, that fella with the Radio Shack said I was mad.
And they stopped to eat pizza.
Yeah. Oh, and just him taking off Homer's head with the little, basically pizza cutter as well.
It was a pizza cutter.
And the sound his head cup makes as it hits the floor. Like, there is some excellent love in this segment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the greatest breakthrough in the labor force since the Cat O' Tails. Like, this is just brilliantly written.
It's rapid fire as well.
The Mr. Burns line that I probably use in my own life more than any others, which when it was in the shinning, it was a callback to this moment of, if we come back to the house and everybody's dead, I owe you a Coke.
Oh my God, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
They're always just betting cokes. On
I just like, that's the one that I use more than any from Mr. Burns.
Well, I can't look at a clock when it's at 11:45 without thinking, oh, come on, it's 11:45.
Again, it's...
You said that like Moira Rose.
I just love that he's reading the time, and it's fucking hilarious just in delivery.
Yeah.
Jesus, I'm now just realizing how much Moira Rose is basically Mr. Burns.
And comedy K's as well. Fucking, who wants to take this?
I didn't write it down, so if you got it in front of you, hit it.
All right. I'm going to probably fuck it up just because, it's a tongue twister, but you clinking, clattering cacophony of collagenous cogs and camshafts. What the fuck is collagenous and what's a camshaft?
The grinding writers love their alliteration so much. And also, like, BoJack Horseman picked up on that trend too and started doing very similar jokes.
Oh, yeah, like especially with Princess Carolyn.
100%.
Yep. All her jargon, I can't remember any of it, but anytime she's on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Collagenous. No results found.
As in collagen?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Collagenous.
Collagenous. And camshafts. I want to know what a camshaft
Camshafts.
It's going to be very engineery.
Camshaft. The woman is.
Shafter?
A shaft with one or more cams attached to it, especially one operating the valves in an internal combustion engine.
Well, now I know.
Of course.
And knowing is half the something. Anything else you want to mention about this section?
A nice little throwaway Willy line of, I wouldn't better be turtle in that mud puddle.
Oh, yeah, Homer's job as the gravedigger as well.
Because, of course, Willy would be the gravekeeper otherwise.
Oh, yeah. He's Gravekeeper Willie, yeah.
He's the groundskeeper.
Keeps all the grounds.
Yeah, that's his night job, apparently. But yeah, what's the job that Lisa thought that Homer would be perfect for, but then changed her mind when she saw you need to run an ultrasonic lithotripter?
I mean, you're the one in front of Google.
How hard can it be?
I tried to look it up when we were watching it, so some sort of X-ray
lithotripter, I'm going to say litho is usually some kind of imaging machine. So I'm going to say it's probably like radiology or something.
I'm going to say that it was made up by comedy writers
Also
working on a
possible.
comedy show.
Well, if you're out there and you work with a lithotripter, ultrasonic or otherwise, write in, let us know.
Call in. We're going to the phones now.
Hello, caller, you're on the air. That's strange. This is not a call-in show.
with a lithotripter. It's a deadly piece of equipment. I've lost both my legs and one of my nostrils to this device.
Caller, did the fellow at Radio Shack say you were mad?
Twice.
Okay, he was.
But incidentally, it was related to other things I did in store.
Okay, we need to go to the news. Caller, please stay on the line. We'll get you the help that you need.
Well, hot dog, we have a wiener.
I got a couple more notes. They're just Burns quotes, though. Like when he's describing his symptoms after he gets crushed.
Yeah, bones crushed, organs leaking vital fluid, slight headache, loss of appetite. Or even before that, just the run, sir, and he says,
Doesn't think to dive to the side.
yeah, he figured out Prometheus running decades before Prometheus.
Now remove that brain and flush it down the toilet. Oh, perfect.
Also, just the actual, like, how squished to a point his neck was. Like, he looked like a human balloon. It was excellent animation.
I suppose you're wondering why you have two heads.
So, yes, now you see why I picked this one and the last one.
Yeah, exactly. But, like, the ending still felt like kind of, you know, here's the lame sitcom joke that we used to just send it off, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like,
It was an after-credit sting, yeah.
exactly. It doesn't dull the cubic.
No.
Spoilers.
Actually, that was an interesting parallel with this in the last episode then, wasn't it? Because that ended with, see, cliche sitcom ending, and that other one started with one. Interesting.
Indeed.
I really want to go to an all-you-can-eat spaghetti dinner sometime, though. That sounds amazing. If you were to rank this segment alone, what would you give it?
Cubic. I couldn't stop writing. It was amazing.
It's got to be cubes.
Yep, I got to agree. And it's time for a little questionnaire. How many times before tonight do you think you've seen this episode?
Monkey's Paw Worth.
4?
Yes.
Beyond infinite.
Wow.
Yeah, I fucking don't know. 100? Why not? Let's go with that. How were the parody elements in this episode?
Phenomenal.
I guess I don't know the parody reference points so well, but I feel like if I saw them, I'd know them, like, immediately.
Yeah, it almost feels more like the vibe of, because, you know, the last one is definitely kind of a vibe of Frankenstein, a little bit, you know, science gone mad kind of thing. There's no specific parody. But, yeah, it's still all those kind of pulpy novels shoved into one.
I said I didn't know any of them, and it's like, I know, I've heard of Frankenstein.
I assumed you meant, you know, on the assumption this was a specific reference.
Yeah. Yeah, but, like, this episode would be very much the dark place to the Furies that I haven't seen.
Good call.
Yeah. And how about the horror elements?
I mean, it's a board with a nail in it. It could end us all.
No, it's actually interesting. I still think there's, like, some scary elements to this, but the first two kind of have fine, like, happy endings almost.
Yeah. This still feels like You know what? Those episodes, those mini episodes, they have Simpsons episode endings.
Yeah.
Things, they don't necessarily have a reset button usually because a lot of people are dead. But there's still like a sort of happy, sweet, I think we all learned something today kind of ending to them, which feels like in keeping with the tenor of the show.
Yeah.
Whereas the other episodes that we've watched today, particularly the other tree houses, were sort of just like, they kind of just petered off and sort of went, oh, here's a generic horror ending, or everyone's dead. Whereas these were like, let's follow the formula of our own show to a T.
No, absolutely. And I think, especially in the Bart segment, you know, they were trying to subvert that trope where he was horrified by the happy, lovey ending.
I mean,
Perfect.
does anyone even die in this season, in this episode?
The turkey was dry, but that's not die.
I guess the turkey had to die. Fair.
Death count for this episode.
One turkey.
Maybe some people in Bart's dream, but I guess none of them lived well.
Yeah. Yes, Jasper was turned into a dog.
I forgot about that.
But yes or no, would you watch this one again?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah, I'm going to watch this again too. But BT, what would you like to change?
No things, I believe. I'm well.
My familiarity with the source material.
Yeah. Yeah, this episode smart. Elliot is dumb.
Again, why I think these early episodes of The Simpsons are such great models for comedy writers is that so many of the jokes are dumb.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that I love about Zim. It's the same thing I love about Rick and Morty. It's the same thing I love about, you know, a lot of comedy shows. Futurama probably being the prime example of it. There's so many dumb jokes in it, and they're almost always the best ones because they just have the right sort of like attachment to just making people laugh.
Yeah. Like the episode where they're launching the big ball of garbage into space and it's like a big tense moment, strings, and Fry just misses the button with his finger. Whoops.
I think always my favorite one is something about like science has proven that alcohol makes you stupider, and Fry goes, "No, doesn't."
Yeah. What a great show. It's time to rank this thing. David, your turn to go first.
Cubit, baby.
Cubies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not drawing the ring of bad. I'm just, I had to make my pen work. And how about you, BT?
Yeah, I'm going to have to cubic as well. I wasn't entirely sure watching the episode, but sitting talking about it, I'm like, I went gold cubic. How could I not? It's a cubic zirconia.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised because I totally walked in on a gold, but it's one of these ones where theoretically, like, the strength of the segments 2 and 3 like really brought me up. Not to say that like segment 1 is dull or anything. It's amazing. It's just I think it might be a bit too familiar with this episode that it's just total wallpaper for me.
When a show's doing something irregular out of its usual wheelhouse, but you've seen it so many times, it just becomes regular.
Or more specifically for me, taking off the rose-colored glasses and going, man, Moroccans might feel weird about this.
Absolutely. All right, that'll be a unanimous cubic zirconia.
Beep, 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 beep.
Honk.
Dun, 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 dun.
I wonder if, future Treehouse will have, Untitled Goose segment.
Please. Untitled Bart game.
Yeah.
It's a gimme.
All right, and it'll be the, oh my God, third Treehouse of Horrors to be entered into category ranking section.
Do you want to...
No, it'll be joining the other cubic unanimous sections. Maybe I should take this again. I'm not.
One more time.
It'll be joining Treehouse of Horror 4. This is the Devil and Homer Simpson. The Ned Flanders is the
So
devil
good.
one. Gremlin on the side of the bus. And Bart Simpson's Dracula with the
Oh, yeah.
super fun
Happy slide. Oh, my God. I love that.
Yeah.
And also Treehouse of Horror 5 with the Shinning, the Time Toaster, and also the aforementioned Nightmare Cafeteria.
Yes.
Cafeteria.
Oh, I'm glad that got unanimous cubic.
Yeah.
Yes, baby.
That was one of our very early unanimous cubics. One of those episodes like, oh, why did we do it so early? I want to do it now.
Because we didn't know.
We didn't know.
want to do it now.
All right, look, that about does it for the Simpsons Index for this week. Thank you for joining us for our 7th Treehouse of Horror-thon. But before we get out of here, we just like to briefly mention things that we're into lately. Books, TV, film, music, movies, and video games, or anything that your heart desires. BT, what are you into?
I'm going to quickly throw out, so the Bart segment was based off of the Twilight Zone episode It's a Good Life, which is based off the short story of the same name by a guy called Jerome Bixby. So go check one of those two out. I really want to read it, actually. I'm very curious. But you mentioned Garth Marenghi's Dark Place earlier, and I think that's going to be my recommendation. It's a weird little BBC series by a lot of people behind, like the IT crowd and that kind of group. But it's hard to explain. It's like a parody of a bad horror TV series. And it's just so good at it.
Yeah.
So if you're familiar at all with... I likened it a lot more to Kingdom Hospital, but I'm curious if... Was it The Fury that you're talking about?
Yeah, like, particularly in the first episode, there's some really direct pulls from The Fury. Like,
Nice.
if you watch the movie side by side, you could see frame-by-frame comparisons.
I'm looking forward to that. So,
I really hope you do. So I would recommend The Fury, but also, yeah, second the Dark Place recommendation. I know at least the first episode, probably some of the others are on YouTube. Get it.
And how about your recommendations for this week?
Oh, man. Otherwise, I'm getting really deep into Kurt Vonnegut at the moment. So I'm reading Cat's Cradle, which is really fun. Unusually, I guess, for Vonnegut. But at the same time, I'm also listening to an audiobook of Dune Messiah because I am nothing if not a big old nerd, baby. And I loved El Camino because I could watch Aaron Paul for hours on end.
Perfect segue into what I've been into. El Camino I watched recently, and I was super surprised. I went in with, like, not exactly low expectations, but just nervousness, because...
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Breaking Bad had such a good finale. Like, not that I've only read, like, 3, 5, maybe 2 books, but...
and none on maths.
But when you get to the end of a book and it's like, oh, there's more. And it's like, oh, that was unnecessary. But... No, as like a prologue, it totally works.
I think he meant epilogue.
Fills in some gaps in the story and also adds a few new ones, and I think it does it marvelously. And the other recommendation as well, because it's kind of in the same vein, is the Steven Universe movie, which... Again, I thought Steven Universe had such an amazing finale that capped off all the story beats and stuff from the show that I don't know how they could have then gone further, but they do tell the story of Steven. You know, it's been a couple of years. He's a little bit older now, which is interesting. It's sort of a new take on the character, like a bit more evolved, and I think the show is as well. And yeah, I had a wonderful time with it, and Steven Universe as well is such a dear show to my heart. Yeah, absolutely love it.
Cool. Yeah, because I graduated from Adventure Time, and it kind of seemed like, everyone was saying Steven Universe is the thing to go to, which I've now noticed is in its entirety on Stan.
Yeah.
So easy get, and I will start on that soon.
Yeah, and Stan recently got the movie as well. So yeah, it's all there, ready for you. And the main creator, Rebecca Sugar, she did a lot of work on Adventure Time, wrote a lot of like the classic songs from that show as well. So yeah,
sick.
Yeah, the DNA of Adventure Time runs deep in Steven Universe. All right, yeah, that is it for the Treehouse of Horror-thon. Thank you for joining us, David.
Oh, man, it was a pleasure. Always is.
And thank you, BT.
It's 11:45, man.
You know what? It's 11:42. That's amazing.
Wow.
And I'm your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill. That's all the mustard in the haunted house. I'm bad at spooky voice.
You'll be sorry.
And death and stuff.
Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can chat to us online at facebook.com/thesimpsonsindex or at Simpsons Index on Twitter and Instagram. And now please stay tuned for the bonus scenes!
Started humming before I swallowed. It's like, usually there's beer in the tummy right now. Why isn't this working?
There's your ASMR again.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is like the first pour from a bottle of wine. It's like I'm not even the biggest wine fan.
That
I
first
like
satisfying
wine.
glug.
But so good. And it's something I've only noticed with wine, not so much any other bottle.
Just has that right viscosity.
That's that good neck.
Ooh, that's some good neck.
My baby's got a fat neck.
I thought it was going to be, oh, baby's got good neck.
Yeah, weighing up between, more editing after this and going straight to bed and getting an early start on editing tomorrow
Go to
morning.
bed, you mentalist. You got to get that sleep.
I know, but nighttime is prime editing time.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is quiet. You can go to playgrounds and there are no children there to
Yeah.
interrupt.
You
Stand there
edit in
quietly.
playgrounds? It's like, I get the going to playgrounds at night, but editing there?
He does his best thinking on the swings.
It's like you said, oh, it's quite... You're in a soundproof studio right now.
Yeah, without a swing. I suppose I could attach one to the roof.
I don't know if we had the supports in here for that.
No, it's... Man, I made the biggest mistake of... one of my friends who just had a baby brought round and we were just sitting around like, okay, let's watch a movie at the end of the night. We're flicking through the channels, the fly's on.
You didn't.
And I'm like, oh, Jeff Goldblum, awesome. Never seen the movie before. Neither had I. You guys know the face. You guys know the scene that we saw. And she's like, can we change this?
Yeah.
Okay.
The scene that I'm seeing is them saying, don't call us ever again.
Stay away from my child.
Do watch that movie, though, please.
Oh, it's wonderful.
It's incredible.
Just don't watch it with a new mother, is my recommendation.
The Oreo-like ones?
Yeah, because the orange ones are just orange creams and
What's a delta?
nothing. What's a Delta? I don't know. Delta, I hardly know. Getting all...
First try was better. It just lacked
Yeah,
confidence.
Sometimes if you just go through with it confidently, it's fine.
Exactly. Look, my stance on this as a filmmaker is that the first take is always the best take.
It's the genuine take. you
Yeah.
know?
Sometimes the world looks perfect, nothing to rearrange. Sometimes you just